Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
I'm talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy Austin Ward. My good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lavery's joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Tiberi here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah,
and then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only two guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
All right, let's do it live on a Tuesday edition of the program. Bo and the boys with you for the next 10 o'clock. We will hit you with the real truth. Will the Cleveland Browns end up with both Colorado Buffaloes that they took out to dinner last Thursday night? At 10:30, Dommy's going to stop by. Will Howard on quarterback camp with John Gruden coming up at 11 o'clock. It's spectacular. I dual screened it last night as I was watching the national championship game. And then, of course, a little bit of Shelley time as the Jackets are back at home tonight. But obviously, much feels lost there. Certainly going to hinder the effort tonight, but at the same time, the reality is the reality. Speaking of realities, I owe the collective an apology. I said in the second week of March, I made the declaration, winter was over. I was wrong. Winter is not over. Winter has been here the last couple of days. I experienced probably the coldest sporting event any of my children have ever participated in last night, where Beamsy had a lacrosse game that went at 5:30. So we were tasked with being there 45 minutes before. It was 52 degrees when I pulled into the parking lot. It started to kind of like heavy mist, wet, started to happen around 5:10, and it was just like a good soaking. And then that continued into the first quarter of the game. As that was happening, though, the temperature dropped 15 degrees, and a rainy evening in the high 40s, low 50s turned into a sleet, wintry mix, soaking, frozen, juxtaposed with what felt like 175-mile-an-hour winds. So I look over in the fourth quarter of the game, and Beamsy is like shaking his hands, and I can tell that he's in, some duress. And he also got whacked pretty good, and so I was curious if he got hit in the head. I never go over to the sidelines, like coaches handle coaches, but anytime you get some sort of a strike to the head, you want to check that out. So I went over and checked it out. My guy had tears just running down his face, and he's like, "I can't feel my hands." And I gave him like the toughness speech. I'm like, "Dude, you got to be tough." And then I looked over, like most of the kids on his team had like tears in their eyes. So we get him in the car. And I'm starting to give him the toughness speech about how you got to be tough, you got to be tough. And in the meantime, like he's just shaking, like his teeth are chattering, he's just shaking. And I grab his lacrosse glove as I'm like, well, you got to get this wet stuff off. Fellas, it was as if you took the glove and put it in an ice bath. It was soaking wet, frozen. It was at that moment that it was not a very proud dad moment for me, because quite honestly, I don't know how anyone could have played in those conditions, let alone move their hands. And it's just thank God we had turf. That's the only way we were able to get it in. But it is certainly the coldest any of them have ever been. It matched the coldest I've ever been participating in a sport was the final game my senior year of high school in the state semifinal games, where the conditions mirrored that. We were a throwing team. We were playing a team that ran the triple option. They beat us 44-0, and that was the end of football for your Uncle Bo. That's the coldest I've ever been. What is the coldest you two have ever been playing an athletic event?
I was on a football team. I think this was junior year. Maybe it was one of those. It was later in the season. We were playing at Reynoldsburg, and they were grass, and so it had been raining. And I want to say it felt like they had cat litter or some sort of dirt thing on the field to try to make it not a mud pit. And I remember we had coats because we were, Arlington's a little fancier when it comes to that stuff.
You got fancy coats, yeah.
And we could hear it from the Reynoldsburg sideline, them critiquing our manhood.
Did you win?
Yes.
Okay.
By enough of a margin where Eric played.
So we played, both of mine involved softball. We played in a softball tournament one time in the middle of March. And I'm pretty sure if the temperature was in the 30s, it wasn't much in the 30s. And it was like wind, sideways rain, maybe some flurries. And at that point, even at a younger age, I was like, never again. Like, softball season doesn't start till at least April for me. I don't care if the team's playing or not. And then we had a fall league one year where it was a 5-week league, and 4 of the weeks got rained out.
Yeah.
So we were playing well into November. And I remember, I believe it was the league championship week, guys out there in Carhartts playing softball.
Yeah, that's about right. That's about right. Yeah. I think you can deal. It's funny. I was talking to a buddy of mine whose kid's on the team as well. And he was like, and we were discussing, like, get to snow as quick as possible. It's the wet, the soaking into the snow, which created, honestly, he looked like Jack at the end of the Titanic is what he looked like when he got in the car. Like, I could not get him warm. He finally had to get in the hot tub when he got home. And that was finally how he warmed up, was that. But it was just absolutely brutal. And it's just a reminder of how hard it is this time of year to get these games in, how cold it is, how wet sometimes it can be. Hopefully, it looks like we're going to get some respite by the end of this weekend, and we're kind of out of it, I hope. What's our spring game outlook? Do we have an accurate temp on it? I thought I saw low 50s, but sunny, which I think we could all kind of handle.
Yeah, you're asking about accurate. I'm not sure if that's the proper word, but as of right now, mid-50s, partly cloudy for the day. So it'll be a noon kick-ish.
Yeah.
You're getting mid-50s and clouds. So, bundle up when you go down there because it'll be kind of cold.
As long as it's not wet.
Yeah, I think it's dry.
52 and is fine as long as it's not wet. That's now, when you run into the problem.
I think if you're coming from the south, you might just want to paddle up the Scioto River.
God, isn't that crazy? Because
of all the flooding, and I think that's still going to be the case for the next couple of days. So maybe not get on the river.
You saw the images from the Ohio River down in Cincinnati with the water almost to the bridge that goes off into Kentucky. My brother-in-law's an insurance agent. He sent me a picture of the Buffalo Trace Distillery that is largely underwater. The whole first level is underwater.
Bo, I saw that last night, and you're the first person I thought of.
Just went, oh, God.
No.
Well, and I was texting with him. I'm like, how do you even begin to make that right? Monetarily, there will be a payout, an insurance payout for it. But my hunch is the stuff that's aged a long time is probably up higher. I don't know. But it's, if you're aging 20-year-old Pappy Van Winkle, you can't cheat that process, baby. That takes 20 years. A 15-year-old, a 10-year-old, Blanton's, all that stuff, it's all got to age. And so there's no, you can write a check for its value, but the true value you could never get back because the true value is in the time is what it is. So yeah, thoughts and prayers for all the folks down there that are dealing with it. And my God, what a crazy weather time that we are living in. This is the real truth. The University of Florida is the only athletic department in the country that has 3 national championships in football and men's basketball. That's the list. Just them. And as we talked about yesterday a little bit, their basketball prowess, they didn't even make an NCAA tournament until 1986. They had a little blip with Lon Kruger, won the back-to-backs with Donovan. They've been a national power really for probably 25 years now, where they've more often than not been very relevant. They've been a one-seed a bunch. This is now their 3rd national title. That's heady company to be in when you think about 3 national titles. We'll get to that in just a second. But the same is kind of true of football. They really don't have a whole lot of football history until Steve Spurrier got there. They have Spurrier in the 60s as a player. They've got Emmitt Smith and that run kind of the late 80s. But then Spurrier gets there in the 90s, and that's when it takes off. But this is definitely a nouveau riche athletic department that has won a ton in our lifetimes. A ton. They've won baseball national championships. They are one of the preeminent athletic departments in the country. And it's a wild thing that they've done. And this game last night was wild. We will get into it. Is this potentially the best Final Four ever? It's on a very, very short list for me when you think about the competitiveness of the games. The stupefying finish from Houston. Just absolutely without much of a plan at all. We will get to that and why March Madness is still pretty damn tough to beat. That's coming up next. We're off and running on a Tuesday. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're the highest rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Feeling unsure about preparing your roof for spring storms? Newman Roofing is here for you. For over 30 years, we've helped homeowners understand their roof's condition so they can make the best decision for their home. Stop worrying and call 614-NEW-ROOF or visit newmanroofing.com today. Don't just get a new roof, get a Newman roof.
Look, there's feelings and then there's the facts. If you're feeling like your finance team is bogged down in mundane manual tasks, the fact is you need Ramp. Ramp is the corporate card that makes the expense process fast and easy. The moment your team makes a purchase, Ramp handles everything. Receipt collection and approvals, the works. With Ramp, you can cut your month-end close from 5 days to 1, customize approval workflows, and get complete control over every transaction. Facts. Over 25,000 businesses trust Ramp, including Shopify and the Boys and Girls Club of America, which is why they were just named #1 in spend management by G2. Facts. Start using Ramp and you'll have more time to spend scaling your business. And that'll feel really good. Upgrade to Ramp for free today and get $250 at ramp.com/radio. Ramp.com/radio. That's RAMP.com/radio.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Get ready to be back in the shoe. The Ohio State Buckeyes football spring game, presented by Union Home Mortgage, kicks off on Saturday, April 12th at noon in Ohio Stadium. Watch as Coach Day and the Buckeyes take the field for an action-packed game day atmosphere. Feel the thrill of game day-style reps and the excitement of cheering on our reigning champs. Find out how you can take a photo with a national championship trophy. Only available at BuckeyeExperiences.com. Join us for a celebration of Buckeye football and a preview of what's to come this fall. Tickets start at just $8 and are on sale now at OhioStateBuckeyes.com.
Hear that? That's the sound of saving a good deal more when you shop with M-Perks at Meijer. Some delicious blueberries, money saved. A creamy treat of cookie dough ice cream, that's money saved. Savings, savings, savings. Because every dollar spent is also 10 points earned in M-Perks, which you can use to save on your next grocery trip or up to $1 off per gallon on your next tank of gas. At Meijer, we work hard to help you save a good deal more for a whole lot less. That's bringing more good to life. Exclusions apply. See mperks.com for details.
Spring forward, Columbus, with the Waterworks and Header Heating and Cooling Services. We're here to thaw you out with this limited time offer. Get up to $2,000 off a new complete furnace and AC system. This offer is too good to pass up. The Waterworks and Header Heating and Cooling now together to serve you better with $2,000 off a new complete furnace and AC system. This offer won't last. Call us today, 614-232-2222. That's 614-232-2222.
Come into your local AAA Car Care Plus and save $84 on select sets of Ford Nokian tires. Only at AAA Car Care Plus locations. And on the plus side, AAA members save more. Offer ends April 15th. See store for details.
Oh, hey, a fan show where you can be the star. Sundays at 11, it's the new Fan Call-In Show, presented by ESPN Bet at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Your calls, your tweets, your voicemails, your opinions. You can be a homer, a hater, or whatever you want to be. Your family may not listen to you, but we will. The Fan Call-In Show, presented by ESPN Bet at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Sundays at 11 on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Hi, I'm Josie. My daughter turns 5 today. Blow out the candles. I'm also an Ohio State Highway Patrol trooper. When you move over and slow down, you're not only giving me room to work, you're making sure I can get home to celebrate with my daughter.
Roadside workers have lives and families, but when they're on the job, they put it all on the line to protect and serve us. When you see flashing lights, remember, they're not just roadside workers. Thank you for moving over and slowing down.
Brought to you by ODOT, USDOT, NHTSA, and ODPS.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty. Do you want to sell your property, however, you need a little help getting through the process? Let's say you have years of belongings in the home. It needs a lot of updating, you're overwhelmed, and you may need help finding a place to go. I will help you. Visit us today at TurboTrackRealty.com or call me now for an all-cash offer and, more importantly, the help you need at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
It'll look beautiful outside with plenty of sunshine. However, don't let that fool you, as temperatures will struggle to get into the low 40s. With breezy winds, it'll feel like we're in the 20s to low 30s. For tonight, another freezing night as lows drop down in the mid to upper 20s under mostly clear skies. And for Wednesday, 50s in the afternoon. For the Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with your 10 weather impact forecast.
The two most mature people working at the radio station. And that's just because they wear pants.
The pervert and the skivvies.
Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan. First Friday miracles are always better with Uncle Bo. This is Bishop and Friends.
And hey there, friends, it's your Uncle Bo here, and I'm proud to tell you about my friends at Diamond Cellar, who know that forever starts with the perfect diamond. So for over 78 years, their family has helped generations of couples celebrate love with brilliance, quality, and unbeatable prices. At Diamond Cellar, bigger diamonds and better prices are their promise to you. So whether you're popping the question or upgrading your sparkle, trust the experts at Diamond Cellar, because diamonds are their forte. Visit Diamond Cellar today at Sawmill Road, Easton Town Center, and learn more at diamondcellar.com. Here's the list of men's basketball programs who have won more national championships than the University of Florida. Villanova's tied. They're a little bit nouveau riche as well. Won it in 85, then 86, and rather 16 and 18. So they got 3. Kansas with 4, Indiana with 5, Duke with 5, UConn was 6, all since 99 for UConn. North Carolina was 6, Kentucky with 8, UCLA with 11. I think you could make an argument that by our definition, UCLA and Indiana are museum programs. Indiana hasn't won a national title since 1987. UCLA hasn't won a national title since 1995. And really, they've only won once in my lifetime. They had that incredible run with John Wooden that started in 64 and ended in 75. And then they have the one outlier with Ed O'Bannon and Tyus Edney, those guys, 95. But that's it. Kentucky hasn't won since 12. Duke hasn't won since 15. So when you talk about bluest of blue bloods, typically you're talking about Kentucky, Carolina, Duke, Kansas. That's kind of that list. Florida's got 3 since 06, 3 of them. It was a classic game and the culmination of a classic tournament, a classic Final Four. I think that Houston's plan. Well, I'll let you know what NBC said when he watched it this morning on his phone, because it obviously ended way past his bedtime. This is the exact quote, "Oh, Dad, they sold." And they kind of did. It was one of the most incompetent last 22 seconds of a basketball game that you've seen. They led the whole way, obviously, until the very end. It was very similar to their game against Duke and obviously Florida's game against Auburn in the Final Four, but kind of led the whole way. And then you're down 2 with the ball, and you walk it up with 22 seconds left, and you put yourself in a position where you're going to take the last shot with 6 seconds, and it gets contested, and then it's done. And it's when you think about dramatic ways to win a championship, that we have a million memories of shots to win it. The Jenkins shot for Villanova, there's been a bunch of them. The Gordon Hayward attempt that just missed against Duke and John Shire back in Indianapolis. Like, you have some of those things that are out there. There's all sorts of classic shots, too. The Keith Smart shot, if you want to go way back. Ramil Robinson at the free throw line for Michigan against Seton Hall. There's all these things that pop into your head when you think about classic finishes. This was not that. They didn't even get a shot up, guys. I mean, the ball did not approach the rim. That's impossible in that scenario, coming out of a timeout, to not get a look at the rim, and they didn't.
It's still stupefying, and I still want to know in that moment, like, what was going through. I mean, there's 2 Houston players that were around the ball.
Yeah.
But the idea that the ball just, like, because as Clayton comes over, contests the shot, and then they just kind of stare at it for, like, 2 Mississippis. And you only had 2 Mississippi, or 3 Mississippis, I think, were left on the clock.
Yeah.
Like, as much as we were giving Duke grief for kind of blowing it, you got to look at Houston and be like, man, you only look at that moment for forever if you're the Houston Cougars.
it's so crazy and it's so hard, right, when you're in that moment to not rush. But if it was Sharp, I believe, right, that was going to attempt that final shot and then drop the ball because the defender came out. If he just pauses for a second, because that defender's full on, that defender either goes by and he gets a shot off, or he jumps up and gets 3 shots at the line. He draws the foul.
Oh,
but it's
pump
just
fakes. Yeah.
But it's just so hard in that moment to slow everything down and just take a breath and realize you've got a second. But, as soon as he commits and his feet leave the ground, he's in no man's land.
Bake, though, what you just said, though, also illustrates the problem with the plan because they waited too damn long to get to that. I think he felt rushed. I think he looked up and saw 5, 6, 5, 4, and he went, my God, I got to get this shot up. And so he didn't have the composure because in his head he didn't have the time to take his time. It was crazy. Sampson was obviously available, heartbroken afterwards, but he was asked about what they were looking for in the final play. Here's what he had to say.
We have a set where it's a stagger gate, and we thought if we could get Emmanuel to shot fake and get downhill. I have to look back at the film, and I don't know if the ball slipped out of his hands or Clayton had his back. Yeah, he probably should have shot faked that. That's both those guys, Richard and Martin, both really good defensively. Clayton made a great play on that, but that's why you got to shot fake and get in the paint. 2's fine.
The game was played at Houston's pace. The game was played in their style. The game was almost railroaded and kind of distractingly so by the officiating in the second half, which was borderline stupefying, the amount of fouls that were called. College basketball and the NBA, even to a lesser degree, though, they've got to get this replay thing sorted. They have to. This is so distracting. It's awful. It makes the last 2 minutes of a game last for 20. It allows for extra timeouts for coaches to prepare. If the NCAA tournament level, there is no reason to not have a replay official say, got it right. Like some of those ones where they're looking frame by frame at a ball, like whose finger did it go off of on a simultaneous push? It's just nonsense. It's just nonsense. And we've seen, as the audience, we've seen 8 versions of it in the time it takes them to walk over. Just get in a headset and say, we got it right, play on. They have got to get this figured out. I am so sick of watching officials walk over, get on the stupid mic, say, we're looking at it for this. We know what you're looking at it for. Everybody does. Everybody in the building does. Everybody watching on television does. Speed it up. Speed up the process. And it definitely was a distracting second half of the game because of the officiating. And to me, it's just a simple eye in the sky thing. I don't understand why that would be so difficult. It's something like the NCAA tournament where there are 1,000 different angles. But they kind of derailed the game in the second half, I thought.
Yeah, in my notes, Bo, in this was a great game, obviously, competitively, but it was a lot of sloppy basketball, and I think that's because both teams were so good defensively, and the pace was very frenetic at times. But gosh, it was not only was the play on the court choppy, and I understand you could call a foul on every play in that game when those teams are playing so physically defensively, but man, it sure seems like the refs took the game over. When we're at the 14.5-minute mark of the second half and Florida already has 7 fouls called on them, there's something wrong.
Well, there were 4 in the whole first half, right? 4 called, and then they decided to get whistle happy in the second. Just officiate it the same both halves so the kids know how to play. I think that's all you got to do. Meantime, for the history buff in all of you, if you love your college basketball and if you're a man and you're 40 or approaching that age, probably one of your first memories of the NCAA tournament was Jim Valvano running around after NC State and Derek Whittenberg took a shot from a long way out. And I believe the call-in is, that's Whittenberg from a long way, and he airballs it, and Lorenzo Charles grabs it and dunks it in one of the most improbable wins in NCAA tournament history. You will recall that the opponent for NC State was none other than Houston. So this is twice Houston's been in this spot. The parallels aren't done there because Todd Golden, who looks like, honestly, he could be like a 17-year-old son of mine, has won a national championship. He's now the second youngest coach since, you guessed it, Jim Valvano to do it. And now all of a sudden he's got a title at 39. Here's Golden on that accomplishment.
I'm super proud, obviously, but I'm just a piece of this puzzle. I've been able to put together an incredible staff and recruit great student athletes over these last 3 years. And, we've stayed the course all year and worked really hard. And, my best answer is I'm just really proud. I'm proud to be the head coach of Florida. I'm proud of the way our players performed, and I'm proud of the way our staff prepared our guys to become national champions.
My kids are naturally salty because we were in Southern California where it was very, very warm, and it's been pretty much garbage since we got back. And NBC said this to me on the way to school. He was talking about Florida and basketball, and he goes, Dad, if you were like a 4-star prospect and you were from a state that didn't have, was not a basketball, you didn't have an in-state one, so someplace other than here, because obviously he goes, here, you go to Ohio State. But he goes, if you're like a kid from New Jersey and you were a high 4-star and you could pick where to go and you had offers from Ohio State and Florida, where would you go? And I said, that's the problem. That's why it's tough. That's why it's tough. They have some innate advantages. They got 3 national titles now. I think they're always kind of like a thorn in our side because of what happened in those 2 national titles, and kind of the fact that it felt like they, at least maybe they stole both. It kind of feels like at times. So you've kind of always looked down at them or looked across at them as like, God, I can't stand them. And I get it. But there is something to it. And I think he's third. There's no reason he couldn't have a Billy Donovan run there, especially if they're locked in academically. This will make you laugh. He also said is Florida basketball school. So I think that maybe helps a little bit, that maybe they are a basketball school at this point. But there's no reason that this stops anytime soon for them. They're set up pretty well.
It was interesting to see, like, Walter Clayton was a 0-star recruit that Rick Pitino picked up at Iona.
Yep.
And he all of a sudden now is an All-American and national champion at Florida.
Yep.
Wild.
Yep. Yeah, that's where we are in college basketball at the moment. That's how you do it. You do it that way, and that's what. And a little bit later in the program, we'll have a way too early top 25, and the Buckeyes are in it. So could next year have this type of magic to it? There's a formula I think we saw though in this tournament. Houston had it, Florida had it, Auburn had it. Duke was kind of the outlier. You need to have veterans who are grown men. Is what you need in March, and we're going to have some of those next year at Ohio State, so maybe they can have a magical run like this. Coming up in 2 minutes, Brian Hartline on the quarterback battle that he is helping oversee with Ryan Day. Neck and neck was the quote from Ryan Day yesterday. We'll see if his offensive coordinator agrees in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
SoFi Personal Loan is here to help you achieve something once thought impossible, overcoming high-interest credit card debt. Walk the tightrope of your finances with one low, fixed-rate monthly payment, no fees required, and as soon as the same-day funding. That's right. Pull off your own debt-defying stunt with a SoFi personal loan. Visit SoFi.com/trick to learn more. Loans originated by SoFi Bank, N.A., member FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. NMLS 696891.
Tuning into your favorite team's game or actually going to the stadium is better when you feel at your best. If something's not quite right, reduce tension and pain and increase flexibility with expert assisted stretching at Stretch Lab. Each session is customized to your body's needs with your unique goals in mind. Visit your local Stretch Lab today or go to stretchlab.com to get up to 50% off your first 50-minute stretch. Plus, get an additional $10 off with code FAN10. That's code FAN10 at stretchlab.com.
Care Heating and Cooling. Honest technicians, honest pricing. Call 1-800-COOLING.
The Roofing Guys are your locally owned, trusted family business right here in Central Ohio. They've been hammering quality and service through the roof for over 25 years, offering professional services in roofing, siding, gutters, and more. Contact them at theroofingguys.com. That's theroofingguys.com.
I can't wait to meet her. Oh my gosh.
Put your hands together for new Dr. Pepper Blackberry and Dr. Pepper Blackberry Zero Sugar.
There she is! Woohoo! Yeah! It's full Dr. Pepper!
With sweet blackberry flavor!
Dr. Pepper Blackberry, I'm obsessed with your succulent taste. Please marry me!
No! Marry me! Marry me, or I'm gonna freak out!
Try new Dr. Pepper Blackberry.
It's a pepper thing!
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations, Grandview, Gahanna, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
Well, here's what's up on a Tuesday. It started over the weekend at the student appreciation practice. The momentum that at least started to be made public about Lincoln Kienholz. Tim May had warned us about it. Not warned us, but made us aware. Don't sleep on him. We talk to Austin every week. He kind of had a similar message as well in terms of that Kienholz has been very, very impressive. But it was the student appreciation practice, I think, where everybody saw with their own eyes. And I think sometimes you need that. You can hear that somebody's making a move or somebody's more impressive, but when you see it with your own eyes is what happened on Saturday, then you're like, oh, okay, we're into something here. Yesterday, Ryan Day, in his availability, spoke about the 2 quarterbacks being neck and neck, which now you say to yourself, okay, they're probably going to stay neck and neck. They do have a practice today. They have a practice on Friday, which is kind of, Ryan termed it a spider practice. I'd never heard that term before. Any idea what that means?
No. Not at all.
Yeah, that's a new one, I think, for all of us.
You just stretch and do drills?
My hunch is helmets, maybe.
Yeah.
Helmets only. Yeah, could be. I don't know. But kind of a loose practice on Friday, and then, of course, the spring game, which is at noon. And in terms of your coverage here at the Fan, 10 to 11:45, spring game tailgate show, AR and Tim May. Then 11:45, the Ohio State Network pregame show starts at 11:45 on that one on Saturday. So once that was said, you say, okay, well, let's bunker in for this, that this isn't something that's going to change with the practice today, the light practice Friday, or the spring game, that there will be no starter name, that this competition will head into August. Now, this is customary for Ryan. He's done this really the whole time he's been here, even when he had no-brainer solutions like Justin Fields or C.J. Stroud. It was something that was not officially made so until August. Brian Hartline, offensive coordinator. He's got a big voice in this thing as well. He weighed in yesterday on the quarterback battle and where it stands right now.
I think that they're competing at a high level, which I appreciate. I think earlier in spring I identified that, their preparation outside the allotted time on their own to prepare for practices is very apparent. That's continued. I think that they are very hard on themselves, which they need to be. We are as well. The expectations here is the highest in college football, and they know that. I think that we're chasing consistency across the board, not just quarterbacks, just every position, frankly. And, that position more than ever. I mean, that's the only guy that's going to touch the ball every play, him in the center. So, what he does and how he protects that ball and facilitates for his O-line and his skill positions is really important. The guys are doing a good job. Really proud of where they're at. Probably, Coach will handle most of those conversations and Coach Fessler. But, I can't say it's ever good enough. That's college football. That's Ohio State. But they're on a good trajectory, and I appreciate the way they've gone about each day.
I heard Man and Bone talking about this yesterday afternoon, this notion of, if you have 2 quarterbacks, do you not have any? That's kind of something that you hear commonly. You'll hear that, and you heard that a little bit with the McCord, Devin Brown when they were in the mix. By the way, Kyle McCord's going to get drafted. Could be in the 3rd round, may end up being in the 2nd. And he had a great year at Syracuse, so he obviously had the stuff it took to be the quarterback here. It just didn't manifest in the way that I think some people maybe hoped that it would right away. But he certainly is going to play in the league. He's going to be drafted. All of those things, but. The point they were making was, well, maybe we don't have anybody. I don't think it's that at all. I think this is more similar to Haskins-Burrow. Now, I'm not saying that the winner here is going to have the year that Haskins have, or 2 years later they're going to have the year that Burrow had at LSU. But I think there's an abundance of talent at the position, and I think they both have come a long way. And I just think we talked about this a lot over the last week or so, but just the upbringing of the 2 kids and the 2 participants is so dramatically different that you don't know how they're going to grow into the position. And I think that leads to kind of where we wanted to go next from Heartline, which is the comments over the weekend of, hey, we made these guys live. And Ryan talked about this Monday about why they went live with the quarterbacks, which you never do this time of year. You don't ever make them live. But when you're talking about guys who haven't faced live bullets before, when you're talking about opening with Texas, you don't really have a way of wading into the pool, so to speak. You're jumping in. It's a cannonball. It's Texas, week 1. It's a different feel to it, and they have to let these. And this is, I think, all of the pieces matter here. I think this is why you're getting a spring game in its truest sense on Saturday. I think that's why they were live last week, because he has to see these guys face some live bullets, albeit in practice, but he's got to see it. And Hartline weighed in on that as well.
I'm surprised it's even a conversation. Like, it should always be live. That's how you play football. So obviously there's a proximity to the season, which is a little reckless. I understand that. But in spring, when you're competing for jobs, I mean, if I'm a quarterback, I'm asking to be live so I can show him how I'm different than anyone that can't be live. You know what I mean? They're always trying to find an edge. And if you're never fully live, I don't think you fully give guys opportunity to be who they want to be or be who they can be. So that being said, I will cast my vote, but that will not be my final decision on that. But I will cast my vote. The guys handled it well. It was good for all parties involved. And the more we can do that, the better. But I'm sure that is coming to a close here very quickly. So.
Brian can say that as a former wide receiver and wide receiver coach. If you are the head of a program, it's a very different answer. When you putting quarterbacks in harm's way, that changes things dramatically.
But it's also, in a situation like this, I believe, maybe the right way to do it, right? Because can you really tell how a guy's going to react when he knows they're not going to get hit? And he mentioned it there. When you've got guys competing for jobs, it may not be necessary when you've got Will Howard back there to put the quarterbacks live, because you've seen this before from him. You know what you're getting. But with some unknown quantities here in these guys and what we've seen on the field, which isn't a lot for them, I think Brian's pretty right. Like, I know we don't want to get someone hurt, but we've got to see him play football.
Yeah, I'm thrilled hearing that from him as an Ohio State fan. And I know, the head coach can't come out and say it, but it's good that at least one of the top men in this decision-making process can. You can't be scared of football. And I think there is an understanding, obviously, in the spring, you're not going to try to crush your quarterback if you're on defense. That's just not something you're going to do. I think you understand as a college football player how important that position is, but these guys have got to get tested and they've got to get strained and they've got to figure out what these coaches need to figure out what they can do when the bleep hits the fan. And the only way to put pressure on them that's even remotely close to what they're going to see from Texas is to do it in practice.
You can't. I think the big thing, you have to be very disciplined defensively, because you don't need these guys being pulled to the ground.
Right.
That's what you can't have. You want to hit them, fine. You want to whack around them. But you pull a kid to a ground and you tear a knee or an Achilles, or you hit somebody around the arm and you hurt an elbow or a shoulder, season over. It's just too important of a position. Like, you want to tackle them, you want to rip them, you want to wrap a little bit, thud. It's a very different. I understand where you guys are coming from. I just think, like, when you lose a quarterback in spring, you lose a starting quarterback in spring, and God willing, nothing happened, right? It's all good. Nothing happened. They were smart. They have very disciplined defensive coaches. But you lose a quarterback in spring, that's it. That's it. That's a season ender at that point. Like, you're going into the portal and you're panicking. Like, so it's just the most important position in sports. You guys probably aren't aware of this. You have children, but, like, they don't even once you get past, like, the first week of little guy football, quarterbacks are off limits in little guy football. They don't let them get hit.
Wow.
Like, you're not tackling the quarterback. Like, 7th grade football last year, you couldn't touch the quarterback in practice. Couldn't.
I remember in high school it was always just wrap but don't drive.
Yeah.
What's the famous line from one Eric Reeser? How do you teach them to dog then?
Well, quarterbacks, you don't need to dog. Everybody else can
These
dog.
you might. That was the difference, I think, going back, because Will Howard knew how to dog already walking onto campus day one. Julian saying Lincoln Keenholz, I think the jury's still out on one, if not both of them. Can they dog appropriately?
I think that what it came down to is that in order to see what Lincoln can do entirely, you had to let him show off his athleticism. And Julian's obviously a plus athlete as well, but I think it's part of Lincoln's game is that escapability, is that threat. And so you had to see him break through tackles and that type of stuff. But it's a credit that they got through it, because it can derail everything when it goes wrong. Going to be a fun spring game, though. Going to be a very, very fun spring game. They do have some availability up there today. What do we got? Receivers? Yeah, some receivers are going to be available. Some special teams players as well. It is brutally cold. It is opening day up in Cleveland. And oh, by the way, a tradition unlike any other. We'll get to all of that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Head to 971thefan.com to listen on demand and subscribe to all our podcasts. Wasting time has never been easier. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Huntington is banking that just clicks. Like asterisk-free checking. An account that's filled with features, but no monthly maintenance fee, no matter what. Because it's your money, right? So we think you should keep it. It's just one more way we're looking out for people every day. Is your bank looking out for you? Maybe it's time to switch. Visit your neighborhood Huntington branch or make the switch at huntington.com/yourmoney.
Do you suffer from leg pain, leg swelling, varicose veins, or leg ulcers? Dr. Barry Zeta and Dr. Joseph Senta at Ohio Vein and Vascular Polaris are pioneers in the vein and vascular field. Dr. Zeta and Dr. Senta can perform minimally invasive procedures that will get you back on track to a pain-free life. Stop living with leg pain and start the process to healthy living with a free healthy leg screening. Go to loveyourveins.com or call 614-324-VEIN. That's 614-324-VEIN or loveyourveins.com.
We're catching up with that famous deep-sea explorer, Jacques Black-Jacques. Jacques, where are you today?
In Columbus, how?
You're in Columbus. What could you possibly be exploring in Columbus?
The April showers bring flooding to Batmans.
Oh, I see. Spring rains mean basements are flooding.
This not necessary. Apex Pros.
Not necessary. Call Apex Pros.
A simple zoom pump check.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble understanding this. Zoom pump check. Sump pump check. Are you saying sump pump check?
Oui.
Yes, of course. A sump pump check from the pros who knows at Apex Pros.
They come to your house.
They come to your house.
They test your zoom pump.
They test your, what is it again?
Zoom pump.
Some pump, right.
All with a 5-star guarantee.
All with a 5-star guarantee. Now, see, I understood that perfectly.
No doubt about it. Columbus loves Apex Pros. The pros who knows. ApexPros.com.
Home values in Columbus are sky high, and you have a ton of equity. Your financial advisor thinks the market has peaked. So if you're thinking about selling, it's time. Except for two things. High interest rates will burn you on a new home loan, and you're not ready to move. Savvy financial advisors suggest Truehold's new Sell and Stay program. It's ingenious because they buy your home now while its value is high, but you can stay in your home as long as you want with an easy, affordable lease. Smart, right? Truehold will make you a solid cash offer, not a lowball offer like the others. It's based on your home's current value. The cash is yours to travel, pay off bills, or secure your retirement. And again, you can stay in your home with a comfortable lease. Truehold covers property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. See how much Truehold will pay for your home today. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
Here's a quick listening guide. When something's on the fan, it's on the station you're listening to right now. If I say something's on ESPN Columbus, it's on 1460 AM and the Fan's HD2. When in doubt, stream it on the Fan app. Thank you and good night.
When you bundle renters and auto with Progressive, you can save while protecting your most valuable possessions, like your really expensive limited edition sneakers and your new suit for your cousin's wedding. Except you never actually bought the suit because you can't stop buying sneakers. So you show up to the wedding looking like you're going grocery shopping. But hey, at least your sneakers will look good in the pictures, until you're cropped out of every last one of them. So go ahead and get Progressive, so you can save while protecting the things that matter to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Every great team has its core players, but when the season gets tough, adding the right free agent can make all the difference. The same goes for business. At Robert Half, we found that 67% of companies surveyed plan to increase their use of contract talent to handle workload peaks and backlogged projects. With Robert Half's specialized recruiters' experience, combined with our award-winning AI, you can quickly find the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, we know talent. Discover how we can help at roberthalf.com/talent.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. After putting up with Dom Tiberi for a decade, the broadcast gods gave Bo these two. This is Bishop and Friends.
Bake, did you end up going to opening day down in Cincinnati? Were you among the contingent?
No, I was not. I was here with you guys, but
Well,
we did go last Wednesday, obviously.
You went last Wednesday to the game. Reese, this is the team of your youth. This is one of your great passions. 4:10 first pitch. We're off the air at noon.
Brr. No, I will not be going north. It's sold out. It's sold out. Like,
Is it?
I could go and get standing room
sure?
only.
I thought you could walk in for $8.
Yeah, the standing room only tickets I think are still available. I could get a media credential. I'm not doing either of those things. I'm going to watch the game.
So it's got a chance to be the coldest opening day.
I was at that 2016 day.
Cleveland history. Were you?
It was cold. I was working in Cleveland at the time, but they had snowed it. It was snow opening day.
So it was 34 in 16. That's the coldest opening day in Guardians/Indians history. The high today is low 30s up there. That's brisk.
Yeah, it's 29 right now. By the time it gets to open a first pitch, the sun's going to poke its head out a little bit, is what they're saying, but 33 degrees at that 4:10, or when Jack Sawyer takes the mound.
That's right. So then Jack Sawyer's throwing out the first pitch. Will he wear a coat?
Not a chance.
He might wear a Carhartt and take it off in the mound.
I don't even think he has sleeves on.
No sleeves.
Yeah,
no
he,
sleeves.
He probably wears a Guardian Sawyer jersey. Like, he would be the only one, I think, of that team that if they were to throw out the first pitch, they wouldn't walk up to the mound in a coat.
It's a short. I think you're probably
Donovan,
right.
But Donovan's from Texas, so I don't know if he'd throw out a Guardians first pitch.
No, I think Jack will be in the Gardos 33. That's my guess.
And there's no way he's not pure fastball. There's no easing up on this. He's all gas.
Is he? I wonder if he played. He probably played baseball, youth baseball and stuff. I know he was a very good basketball player.
He was a good basketball player. I don't know when his baseball career would have ended, but I do know he played a season of quarterback at Pickerington North, so he can throw it a little bit.
Oh, so he's going to pipe it. He's going to throw gas. He's going to absolutely throw gas. I've had to do it once. I was 21 or 22, single A Reds affiliate, Billings, Montana, Billings Mustangs, rookie ball. I had been just named like the main sports anchor at the CBS affiliate in Billings, Montana, still in college at the time. And they asked me to do it. They asked me to throw out the first pitch, and I was quite nervous. And there was about 3,000 people there, not 30-some thousand. But, of course, I'm not an elite athlete like Jack Sawyer, mid-athlete at best, as my kids would say. But I remember thinking, just throw it hard. And hopefully it goes in the vicinity, but just throw it hard. I didn't want to throw a looper. You didn't want that. Like, I just put a little bit of heat on it, and I did, and it did cross the plate technically, but it definitely, right as it crossed the plate, hit the dirt. So I still have the baseball somewhere in my box of memorabilia, and it still has the scuff from the dirt that it hit as it crossed the plate. But at least it was in the vicinity of crossing the plate. I feel pretty strongly that Sawyer's going to pipe it. That feels like a lock.
It'll have velocity.
Yeah.
I'm always just, I wonder, for an elite athlete like you mentioned, are they taking practice throws under the bleachers? Like, are they using the dugout there? Because it's, for me, the biggest thing I would think is you just got to angle it properly. Like, you're not trying to throw it too wide, but where you're on the mound, like to throw it down but not too far down where you're spiking it in the mud.
Here's the thing that you don't consider when you're doing it. How many people have thrown from a mound?
It's high up there. So you're not used to it.
Yeah. So what happens is you warm up and you say, all right, there's home plate. Here's the mound. This is the distance. And you warm up at that distance. But then all of a sudden you walk out there and you're elevated and you're like, oh, well, this is a different angle and this feels not natural. And so I think that's where it sometimes goes wrong, even for people who are mid-athletes, that it starts to go a little bit wrong. Most great athletes know what they're doing. We've had some NBA guys who have thrown crazy first pitches. Baba Booey's is one of the greatest of all time. The one he threw at the Mets. There's all sorts of variety of them, but usually athletes pipe it, and I think Sawyer's going to throw it. I think he's going to put it in there. I think it's absolutely certifiable that people are going to be out there in this. Like, what are we doing? I mean, you are going to freeze in those conditions. There's no glamour in it.
Nope. I think I've told this story before, but I remember going to a Guardians game. I think it was in early April with my grandparents. My grandpa was a big Indians fan back in the day, and I mean snowing, and it wasn't like a couple flurries here and there. It was a good snow.
Yeah, it's no thanks. I know it's a big party and all that. I don't know why they didn't move it up to 1:00. And then that way, at least you could kind of like get it in during the daylight hours. Like this thing could. Now, my guess is it's pretty disinterested performance out of the White Sox and Guardians. Like they don't want to be out in this either. I think you just want this. Let's just get it done as quick as possible. Probably not a lot of challenges. Probably a lot of swinging at everything type things. So I think that's probably the way that it goes. I just got breaking news from Scotty Vegas, and I will just tell you that this will have a dramatic impact on this show and the future of it, at least for the next 40 minutes. Dom is coming on at 10:30. I just got an email from Scotty Vegas, and you guys did too, that he won the Fan Bracket Challenge. He finished 8th overall.
Oh, boy.
You guys don't know Chesty Dom. You get Cuddly Dom, Uncle Dommy, go buy you a meat sandwich. He's going to be insufferable. He finished 8th. He probably watched 6 seconds of college basketball this year that was not Ohio State involved, and he just won it.
Congrats to Gio from Pickerington, who won the $1,000 from that contest. Dom, as a Tegna employee, is ineligible for that, but yeah, bragging rights not only forever.
I mean, he's going to come in here and talk about this and tell us that, see, I told you Lincoln Keenholz was Tom Brady too, and
yeah, it's all that.
I mean, it's all coming
because this was correct. Now everything else he's ever said in the history of time will be correct.
And he just raised $500,000 too. I mean, oh boy, this is going to be.
Woo. He's having an all-time month.
Should we postpone, Dom?
Yeah, kick it to next week.
Can it sponsored?
Kick it on down the curb, man. We can't bring him on here with this. God, he finished 8th overall.
There's about 2,300 brackets submitted.
God. And again, good for him. But all that tells me is Dom Tiberi doesn't like taking chances in life. He doesn't like taking risks.
Here's how I'm going to spin it. I'm going to spin it that he's a Florida homer, that he secretly loves Florida.
You remember vividly him cheering for the Gators in 06.
That's what I'm going to say. Yeah, I'm going to say, I remember you. Where's your Torian Green jersey?
Yeah.
You got a Joakim Noah?
You were glad watching Troy Smith go down in that game, huh?
Yeah. You like Chris Leak? You
Leak
put on
lover.
your Chris Leak jersey to watch the game last night? That's how I'm going to spin it. That'll make him a little uncomfortable, but I think largely his chestiness will prevail. So you have that to look forward to, which is nice. That's coming up at 10:30. Between now and then, we hit the real truth. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We've been your Jackets flagship station since day one. All the goals, all the action, all the memories. Your home for the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Legend has it, underneath the NJM insurance offices lies a mysterious room of long-forgotten, moldy mascot memorabilia. Often pitched by ad agencies, always rejected by NJM. Is it real? We may never know. But what is real is NJM's dedication to doing what's right for their customers. Astoundingly, they're proud to put policyholders first. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. Learn more at njm.com.
Insurance underwritten by NJM Insurance Company and its subsidiaries.
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
Hey friends, Beamer here. 70 pounds down. Let that sink in. I'm officially 70 pounds down, all thanks to Awaken 180, and have transitioned smoothly into maintenance mode. This isn't just weight loss. This is life-changing stuff. I've dropped over 13% body fat. My visceral fat points are down by 8. And honestly, I feel like a completely new man. The coolest part, Awaken 180 just doesn't say congrats and then wave goodbye. They prepare you for maintenance. So now I get to reintroduce to myself foods that I love. Pizza, ice cream. Very excited about all of that. My mindset's completely different though now. Do I crave junk food? Honestly, no. Can I eat those things now? Sure. Will I? Absolutely. But the difference is I no longer feel like I need them all the time. And Awaken 180's free support for life means that this weight's staying off. My body's now working for me instead of against me. I'm finally at my healthy baseline weight. I feel awesome. Change your mindset, change your life. Awaken 180 made it happen for me. And if it can happen for me, it can 100% happen for you. Check them out online at awaken180weightloss.com. awaken180weightloss.com.
Hi, this is Ron from the Good Feet store. Are you standing on painful feet all day? Don't lose hope. We want to help you live without pain. Discover your options and visit goodfeet.com or stop in today at the Good Feet store on Polaris Parkway in Grove City.
Common Man and T-Bone here for the ESPN Bet Sportsbook inside Hollywood Casino Columbus. Bone, did you know that the college basketball championship game is coming?
That's right. And you want to go to HollywoodColumbus.com to reserve a table and guarantee your spot for that, for the draft watch party, all kinds of good stuff. You know what draft?
What draft?
All the draft.
We can't say it, but it's a big draft.
Plus, with their Tea Time giveaway, you could win a golf cart or $10,000 in pen slot play Sunday, April 27th.
Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
You know that thing you've always been too scared to go for? It seems like you'll never have the guts. Then a cancer diagnosis. And doing that thing becomes way less scary. I would know. I've always wanted a black belt. And today, the only thing standing in my way is a few wooden boards. It's been a lot of hard work and 5 years since I beat cancer at Ohio Health. Bring it on. You keep making plans.
Visit ohiohealth.com/keepmakingplans to learn more.
New career opportunities near you. Uline is opening a new 1.4 million square foot distribution center in Etna, and they're looking for exceptional people to join their Ohio team. Interview for warehouse positions at their upcoming April hiring event. Warehouse workers earn pay starting from $25 an hour with significant growth and earning potential. Plus, get full health benefits and a 401k match from day one. Sign up for your interview this April in Etna at uline.jobs. That's uline.jobs.
Hey, it's Anthony Rothman here for Germain Honda of Dublin. So what's the difference? There are other Honda dealers around. Well, Rich Newsom and his team want to earn your trust. They don't expect it, and they earn it by giving you a great price, and then they back it up after the sale with same-day service, no appointment necessary, a great variety of brand new Hondas, and hundreds of pre-owned certified Hondas to choose from, all at the same location. Identify yours at GermainHondaofDublin.com. Germain Honda of Dublin, Sawmill Road, just south of 270.
The sports calendar is heating up, and with ESPN Bet Sportsbook, you can go from checking news to stats to placing bets in a couple of taps. Stream games, bet live, and get exclusive offers when you link your ESPN account. Right now, you can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for basketball and hockey this season. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every one-timer and buzzer-beating 3 live and in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Don't miss out. Visit VividSeats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Just 6 games remain for the Blue Jackets this season. CBJ enter Tuesday 8 points out of that final wildcard spot in the East. Jackets look to halt a 3-game losing streak tonight, hosting the Ottawa Senators. Face-off from Nationwide is 7 o'clock. You can hear that game on the Fan with coverage at 6:30. Jackets will host the Sabres on Thursday. In baseball last night, Hunter Green struck out 7 in 8 full innings of work as the Reds beat the Giants 2-0 in San Francisco. Both teams are back at it tonight at 9:45. The Guardians had Monday off. Cleveland's going to host the Chicago White Sox today at 4:10 in their home opener. Low 30s is the expected temperature in Cleveland. Jack Sawyer's going to throw out the first pitch. And in college hoops, Florida beat Houston 65-63 last night in San Antonio to win the men's basketball national championship. This update is sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring and not sleeping, give Dr. Mark Levy's office a call at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP, or visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com.
Pull up a stool and ask the bartender for something neat, because Uncle Bo is on the radio. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, second hour here on a Tuesday edition of the program. We begin it with a little bit of the real truth. Hit it, fellas.
Bishop and Friends present The Real Truth.
Sponsored by Diamond Cellar. Over 76 years of experience and guaranteed lowest prices on Sawmill Road or diamondcellar.com.
Ohio State will win a men's basketball national championship in our lifetime. Is that the real truth?
Haven't yet. You'd be pretty old to remember the last one. I do think so. I do think it's the real truth. I curious. You could do men's and women's, or men's or women's. Will we see either one? It feels like it's more possible, oddly, and I know McGuff's been unbelievable since he's been there, but it feels like there's almost like a concrete season on the or concrete ceiling on what you can achieve in the women's game, that you inevitably run into a USC or a UConn or a South Carolina or whoever's going to really care about women's basketball in the LSU, and you hit your head kind of against that. And on the men's side, I think all it would take, I think Florida proved it. I mean, that team lost the first round last year. I don't even believe they were ranked to start the season, but they were heavy on transfers. They landed in the transfer portal. And I think it's much easier now at a place like Ohio State to be able to do it, to just be really organized in a couple of years span and kind of go for it. So I think we will. I think we will see a national. I'm feeling good despite the weather. I'm in a good mood. I think that you will see a national championships in men's or women's basketball in our lifetime, but they better get going.
So I don't know how I came across this, but I sent you guys something the other day about the Browns. Chat GPT did like the next 80 Super Bowl winning teams in the Browns. Yeah, right. I think it was 2069, 70, and 71. We were going to get a three-peat from the Browns, which, Bo, you and I probably won't be around to see that. But
I'm not making 2050. Are you kidding?
I saw the same thing last night with the next 80 men's NCAA basketball champions, and Ohio State was not on there. And I got to tell you, I don't know if they're going to in our lifetime, because if you didn't get it done with Oden and Conley as close as you were, or Evan Turner and Sully and Kraft, I just don't know if it's going to happen. And I don't know if Ohio State, like you mentioned, Bo, with transfers or kids out of school, high school, if you can go to Florida or you can go to Ohio State, where are you going to go? If you can go to USC or if you can go to Ohio State, what are you going to choose? And I just don't know, unless another LeBron James pops up in the state of Ohio. We kind of had that with Darren Peterson, who ended up at Kansas. I don't see it happening.
I think if it happens, it won't be that way, Bake. You're right, and I think that the odds are that we won't. Obviously, we've got one national championship in those two sports combined ever. So the notion that you're going to win one again is pretty far fetched. But I do think because of portal, I think if it is going to happen, it will be a coach and a relationship with a collective and boosters, and like putting it together veteran wise. That the Florida path, the Houston path, I mean, Florida was riddled with transfers. So like that's the path for it. And I just think you could possibly do it. But I think you're probably right that clearly you're right that the odds are that it will not.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to live forever. So, yeah, it's bound to happen sometime in infinity.
All those protein drinks you're sucking down there. 127.
Browns will end up with Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders. Is that the real truth?
Right now, no. I don't think so. And I think they're going to end up with Travis Hunter at number 2. And I would be thrilled with that. If you don't love the quarterbacks beyond Cam Ward, then take the best weapon in the draft, and the best weapon in the draft is Travis Hunter, and feel good about yourself the next day. I think first the issue with Shedeur is I don't think he's going to fall enough to where they would be able to sleep with the idea of giving up the assets to get him. I think he's going to be gone. To me, it's hard to imagine he's gone no later than the Saints. And I think they're the betting favorite to land him now. I think they pick somewhere around 10, 11, something like that.
Yeah, they're 9.
Okay, 9. If you were going to trade for, if he were to fall, the number to pay attention to is 20. That's the Denver pick. That's one spot, I believe, in front of the Steelers. So if he were to fall to 20, would you give up 67 and would you give up 33 and a 3 next year to go to 20 to take Shedeur? That's the conversation they're going to have. I just don't think he's going to fall that far. But I do think they're going to end up with one of them. My hunch is it's going to be Travis Hunter.
So I don't believe that this is the real truth. We're seeing the trend now, right, in a lot of these mock drafts, is Shedeur Sanders is going to slide in this draft. I just cannot believe, with the emphasis that people put on the quarterback position, that this is going to happen with him. I'm still not convinced that the Browns aren't taking him at 2, because I don't know if Stefanski and Andrew Berry can have another season like they did last year and survive in Cleveland. And as we've talked about, what's the fastest way to get there? It's by drafting your quarterback at 2. So I don't believe that. And I also don't see, Bo, why if the Cleveland Browns think Shedeur can be the guy, why is it more attractive to them giving up assets and getting him at 20 as opposed to number 2, just drafting him there and keeping the rest of your picks? If they don't like him at 2, they see something that they can get in Shuck or Howard or Dart or whoever that I don't see them trading back up to grab Shedeur.
It's a great point out of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
There will be a point where both Ohio NFL teams face the Modell Law in court. Is that the real truth?
2 very, very different circumstances. I've said this really since this started to go public after the owners' meetings last week. I don't think there's anything to do about the Cincinnati Bengals situation. I think Florio is taking comments from Katie Blackburn and trying to turn a mountain from a molehill. They're going to opt into it this summer. They have till June to opt into it, and that will keep them there. There are options for the county. We've had Jay Morrison on about this, and he kind of laid it out. Do they want to see that improved? For sure, but the county owns the stadium, and the Cincinnati Bengals aren't going to build their own, and they're not going anywhere. So there's no scenario where I think anything's going to happen in Cincinnati. I just don't. I could see the state of Kentucky coming forward, and then potentially they would try to have some Modell Law issues there. But if it's across the river, what are we doing? So I don't think anything's going to happen in Cincinnati. I think they're going to play in Cincinnati. They're going to play in that stadium for the foreseeable and extended future. I also don't think anything is going to happen in Cleveland. They're staying in the county. They're not going to Stark County, for those of you who know your Ohio geographical county locations. They're not moving to Canton. They're not going to Massillon. They're not going to Akron. Hell, they're not even going to Richfield. They're staying in Cuyahoga County. I'm sorry. That does not count as a Modell Law. It's 15 minutes from downtown. What are we doing? Right? What are we doing? It's just nonsense. So I don't think it'll ever get that far, and I think it's mostly grandstanding that's taking place. And I just think it's absolutely nonsensical. There's no scenario, I think, where this gets to, because I think you said in court. Yeah, you did. You had in court. It will never get to court.
Bo, I like that word you use there, grandstanding, because that is, I feel like, definitely happening right now, especially with the Bengals situation. And we don't know what's going to happen in the future, if the Haslams at some point sell the Browns and if the Bengals ever get outside of the Brown family for ownership, what could happen then? But I don't think as long as the Brown family owns the Bengals, they're going anyway. And I can't see any owner, no matter who it is, trying to take the Browns out of Cleveland again. No. I don't think that would be good for their health.
No, it's just not in the cards. And the Haslams, remember, the Haslams had one of the biggest privately owned companies in America in Pilot Flying J, and they sold to Berkshire Hathaway and Warren Buffett. to get into the sports owning business. I think they see it as a legacy play for their family forever. They are now currently managing the Milwaukee Bucks. They own the Crew. They own the Browns. My hunch is if the Blue Jackets ever came for sale, they would pounce on that. So, they're not going anywhere, and neither the Cleveland Browns. They're going to remain in Cleveland. They're in the same county. It's just nonsense.
And finally, the Blue Jackets goaltending situation is going to look very different next season. Is that the real truth?
I'll give this one to Bake.
Yeah, I think that is the real truth. You obviously have something with Jet Greaves next year where he needs to be on the team or he's getting an NHL salary at the AHL level. And I think you can make an argument that Jet Greaves has been the best goaltender in the organization, the most consistent at least, the past couple of years. They've obviously shown that they don't have a lot of faith in Daniil Tarasov. And I don't think money-wise they're getting the production out of Elvis Merzlikins that they need. I have a feeling you will see a whole new goaltending tandem next year and probably a revamped defense as well. I think up front, you're just going to see a couple tweaks. But, yeah, goaltending, I think definitely it's going to be all new.
What is the Elvis contract? So you're saying Elvis won't be here next year? That's your hunch? What can they do with him?
Well, they could either try to find someone to trade. They could make some kind of trade where they take on another bad contract, or they add draft picks or a prospect in to sweeten the deal for someone to take him. Or I believe the buyout situation after this year is not as bad. So if they would have bought him out before last year, it would have cost a lot against their cap. But I think moving forward after this season, the buyout isn't as bad. Maybe I think it's 1.6 for next year, maybe 2 the following year, and then 1.3 the year after. Those numbers aren't exact, but they're pretty close. So the buyout isn't awful.
Yeah, it's homegrown goaltending is where it's at in the NHL. So it's this has been a tough one here the last month or so down the stretch. And it's been pretty much inconsistent since Bob left, quite honestly. Other than Corpy had that great run in the bubble, but it's been pretty inconsistent since Bob left. ESPN, way too early top 25 on the heels of the national championship being won last night. Are the Buckeyes in there? We'll let you know coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
Your home is more than just 4 walls and a roof. It's where life happens, where memories are made, where family gathers, and where you should feel safe. At Newman Roofing, we know that when it's time for a new roof, you want to feel confident that you've hired the right company. One that will install a quality roof and complete the work as promised. But with so many roofing companies out there, how do you know which one to trust? For over 30 years, Newman Roofing has helped more than 7,500 families protect their homes with quality roofing, gutters, and siding. We believe you deserve a company that provides a white glove customer experience, one that pays attention to every detail and treats your home like it's our own. At Newman Roofing, we're not just another roofing company. We're a family-built business that stands behind our work. So when it's time to replace your roof, don't settle for uncertainty. Choose the local family with a reputation for excellence. Choose the company you can trust. Newman Roofing. Call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit us online at newmanroofing.com. Don't just get a new roof, get a Newman roof.
At Meijer, we work hard to bring more locally grown goodness to life with a farm-fresh selection of crisp vegetables and juicy, ready-to-eat fruit. Whether topping off kebabs on the grill or adding healthy color to a leafy green salad, your family will definitely enjoy the delicious taste of Meijer produce. Plus, you'll appreciate the selection and savings we have to offer. That's the fresh-picked good life, priced for real life. We work hard to make life a good deal better at Meijer.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Buy 2 windows, get 2 free. No limit. Pay no interest till 2030 plus $500 off your home improvement project. Restrictions apply. Call them today. 614-502-5220. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Good morning, Doctor.
Doctor?
Hi, Doctor. Doctor?
Dr. Jackson's practice is growing.
What do you mean we're still short-staffed?
He needs a good patient doctor.
How do we not have enough doctors to doctor all these patients?
And he doesn't have the patience to sift through hundreds of resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Buying a home used to feel like a complete headache. Listings here, pre-approval there, financing somewhere else. Now, Rocket is giving every home one address. Rocket.com. A single seamless homeownership platform to help you find, buy, sell, finance, and refinance your home. Everything you need, all under one roof. Visit Rocket.com, the new home for all things homeownership. Rocket. Own the dream.
The Buckeyes are national champions. And you listen to it all right here on The Fan. And next year when they do it again, it'll be here on The Fan. And the year after that, well, you know the drill. Always and forever, your home of the Buckeyes. The Fan.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
It'll look beautiful outside with plenty of sunshine. However, don't let that fool you as temperatures will struggle to get into the low 40s. With breezy winds, it'll feel like we're in the 20s to low 30s. For tonight, another freezing night as lows drop down in the mid to upper 20s under mostly clear skies. And for Wednesday, 50s in the afternoon. For the Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with your 10 weather impact forecast.
We're your radio home for the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. We may have a bit of a football problem. Oh, yeah? The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Our top men are working on everything except this show.
We have top men working on it right now. Who? Top men.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
And as always, we are proud to be sponsored by our great friends at Diamond Cellar, your true jeweler for over 78 years. Final Four last night. I did not make it to One Shining Moment. I watched that this morning. I was proud all the boys sought it out this morning as well. It remains undefeated. It's perfect. It's just on too damn late for me to stay up that late to be able to watch it live like I used to as a kid. I would say from a television viewing experience, I don't know that it's been better than it currently is right now in terms of the game experience. Ian Eagle, Bill Raftery, and Grant Hill are pretty damn good. I'm a big Nance guy, love Nance, and he did a great job for a long time on it, absolute legend. But Ian Eagle is elite at play-by-play, and Raftery at 81.
Still got it.
Still got it, dude. He's still got it.
Man. I mean, he's
so great.
He's been throwing heat for the whole tournament.
He has.
Like, this was watching. Yeah. I forgot the one shining moment. Has it always been like 4 minutes?
It's always the length of the song. So it's usually 3, whatever, however long that song is. There's actually a YouTube. When the boys were little and they would like play basketball in the basement, there is a YouTube clip that has every One Shining Moment every year. Like, it's one after another. And you know the line in the song where it says something to the effect of like, the road is long, and they always show like an old coach? Because in the late 80s, early 90s, nobody had any idea that there would be a such thing as YouTube, and you could pull up anything anytime you wanted to in the history of things that had been created. For like 6 straight years, Bob Knight was the visual of that. Like the same edit, same point. There's like 4 or 5 years in a row where it's Bobby Knight every single time on that line. So yeah, no, he threw gas the whole time. I tell you what, can you guys name, without looking, I give you $20 each if you can tell me the two colleges he coached at before he became a broadcaster. He became a broadcaster in 1981.
This is Raftery?
Yep, Bill Raftery.
UC Santa Clara and San Francisco.
Wrong coast. Wrong coast, Bake. I gave you a hint.
I was going to say Wake Forest.
No, that was Billy Packer played at Wake Forest, the longtime voice. No. Bill Raftery coached at Fairleigh Dickinson. His first year coaching was 1963. 1963. It's an 81-year-old man.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah. 63 to 68, he's at Fairleigh Dickinson. He then coaches Seton Hall from 1970 to 1981.
I knew Seton Hall. Daggone it. I should have got that.
You should have known that. Somehow he managed to keep a job there. My guess, just because his effervescent personality. He only made 2 NITs, and they only got to the first round. So now the NCAA tournament was different then. 1 team per conference, all of that. So it wasn't like it is now. He had a lot of winning records. He was 13 games over 500 while he was there. But I think the combination of Iron Eagle, Grant Hill, and Raftery at 81, called his first Final Four at 71. Nobody had this for him. He was always, it was him and Vern, and they were like the number 2 team. They were on the call for some incredible games. They were on the call for Duke, the Duke Kentucky game, the Leitner shot. They were on the call for that. They were on the call for us when Ohio State was the number 1 overall seed in New Jersey. They played the first round in Cleveland, and then they went out to New Jersey. They got beat by Brandon Knight, kind of hit a shot. William Buford had a shot at the buzzer that would have won it. They were on that one. And Dom will know this story as well. Vern Lundquist and Bill Raftery at the end of the night were in the hotel lobby bar sucking down Johnny Walker Black like it was mother's milk. And I was not in the conversation, but was conversation adjacent. And just hearing the stories, I think Jay Billis may have been on the call with those two at that time. That maybe he was on loan from ESPN. I feel like Billis was maybe on loan.
It could be. That sounds right. Mix.
Yeah, but anyway, they're just hearing them tell stories from like across a bar is everything you'd ever want. It just was everything. So he's pure joy. I mean, it's interesting. Like he's gotten kind of this for the longest part of most of our lives. Dick Vitale was kind of like that guy, right? With ESPN, but because of illness and the fact that ESPN doesn't have the men's tournament, Raftery has spent the absolute twilight end of his career from 71 to 81 as one of the co-voices of the Final Four. And he crushed it. I thought the Turner guys were better this year, too. Clark always has to kind of lift up that group with the college basketball acumen, and Jay Wright's great. But it felt like Chuck and Kenny were a little bit more locked into the tournament this year than normal.
I think it helped to have Auburn be as much in it as the Tigers were until the very end, and I think that gave Charles a little bit more interest on his part. But yeah, the whole production of it, like this, I think from start to finish, is the best sports production and the best sports thing we put our eyeballs on a yearly basis. Overall quality.
I think you're right. I think it's the one thing, even more than the NFL playoffs, even more than the college football playoff, just because it's new and because you've got some lopsided matchups. You have this in hoops too, but you also, like, sometimes the games, it's a little hinky how the games are played sometimes on a Friday night and then it's on a Saturday and all of this. Sometimes games on a Thursday. Like the NCAA tournament, it's March. It's played Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The first 2 weeks, it's a Final Four Saturday. It's a national championship game on Monday. I wish the national championship game was not Monday night that late. It stinks to do that. I get it because I'm sure they rate quite well, but it stinks to do it that way. But at the same time, like, it's one of the things that you can absolutely count on your sports calendar, and it's there for you every single year and delivers every single year.
And I will say last night, it was nice that it wasn't midnight when that game was over. I mean, they were right on time at 8:50. Maybe let's bump it up to 8:30 next year to get a little, you end by 11 or possibly right at 11. But it was nice that, like, Saturday night, I was struggling trying to stay up until 12:05, 12:15, whatever it was, when that last Final Four game ended. Last night, it was a little more palatable.
This thing would have ended at 10:30 if they didn't call 55,000 fouls in the second half.
Goodness gracious, yes.
I mean, the pace was to be done by 10:30. Truly. And they just got whistle happy and kind of wrecked it. But, it's getting there. 11 o'clock that's doable for sure. ESPN, and I love everybody who does these type of things. They put out their way too early top 25. Keep in mind, the portal is still open for men's basketball. So I always say with my youth basketball, when I send out the emails to my teams, like, put this in pencil, not Sharpie. This is like chalk. Put this in chalk that washes away or blows away in the wind, because who knows what could happen. They do have Houston number 1 overall to start. Purdue number 2. UConn is 3. Louisville is 4. Michigan is 5. That one stings quite a bit. Ohio State is ranked in the top 25. They come in at number 23 overall. From the article, here is the quote: Ohio State stumbles down the stretch, kept the Buckeyes from reaching the NCAA tournament. But there's optimism in Columbus, given this started only one senior this past season, seemed poised to bring back 4 starters. Bruce Thornton is one of the best point guards. John Mobley Jr., Devin Royal could take another step. The one key addition this far, Santa Clara transfer Christoph Tilly, the 7-footer from Germany, who should immediately slot into the lineup. When you lay this starting lineup out with Thornton, Mobley, Royal, Stewart, Tilly, and Gabe Cupps coming off the bench, and we'll see what happens in recruiting, and we'll see what happens as the portal starts to amplify, that certainly has the making of a team that should be a Sweet 16 type team. It's either that or you missed on these guys in recruiting and development, because they were all, Thornton was highly regarded, Mobley was a 5-star, Royal was highly regarded, Tilly was a big-time transfer. Like, they will play with real pressure next season.
Yeah, that starting 5, you can talk me into a deep run in the Big Ten tournament, but it's the depth. It's who's coming off the bench to assist. Who else size-wise is, Yagovin? Does he make a big enough leap in year 2 to where you can actually trust him in big minutes if Tilly does get into foul trouble? And then, the backcourt situation, like how's Cupps, how's the knee doing? Is there anybody else that they want to add through the portal? I mean, so many of these teams don't have full rosters right now. And so all of this is like reading some of these paragraphs, it feels like it's copy and paste. We'll see what this person does. We'll see what this person does. Like, yeah.
It was interesting. There were quite a lot of rumors yesterday about the Ohio State basketball team and possibly adding 2 more 6'8" guys, one a wing and one more of a 4/5 type player coming in. So we'll see what happens and how Ohio State rounds this roster out. Man, Bo, when I look at this, though, gosh, Purdue is going to be really good next year. Again, this doesn't take into account their depth and their bench. But that starting 5 for Purdue is really good.
Yep. Yeah, he's built a hell of a program over there. If he can do it there, you ought to be able to do it here. 2 minutes from now, Tuesdays with Tiberi. He will be chesty. He will be gloating. He's going to be on Cloud 9. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Huntington is banking that just clicks. Like early pay. You could get paid up to 2 days faster and there's no cost. So stop playing the waiting game. Make the switch today at huntington.com/yourmoney. Direct deposit and eligibility requirements apply.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection. One that helps better their everyday through the things they value most. Friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
Wouldn't it be nice if you could dump all your problems on someone else's back? Well, when you wake up to a clogged drain or a plumbing issue, make that Mr. Rooter's problem.
Call 855-MISTERS today or MrRooter.com.
Call Mr. Rooter. He'll be there quick.
Attention kingdom-seeking business professionals, entrepreneurs, and investors in Columbus. Are you ready to experience a life-changing event that will elevate your faith, finances, and future in 2025? Then you won't want to miss this. Join us for Life Search, featuring Champions of Faith, Saturday, May 10th at the Schottenstein Center for an extraordinary one-day event that will empower you to transform every area of your life through the power of faith. Prepare to be inspired by an incredible lineup of champions, including college football champions Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs, three-time national champion head coach Urban Meyer, sportscaster Kirk Herbstreit, two-time national football champion Tim Tebow, and more. These champions have experienced firsthand how faith transforms lives, and they'll be joining Life Search to share their powerful stories and insights on how to integrate faith into your business, finances, and every aspect of your journey. Seats are selling fast to this unforgettable event, so don't wait. Head to lifesearch.com now to secure your tickets before they're gone. Life Search featuring Champions of Faith, Saturday, May 10th at the Schottenstein Center. Don't miss out. Your transformation begins here. Visit lifesearch.com today.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Bishop and Friends present Tuesdays with Tiberi.
All right, he joins on the Brian Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. You're going to be insufferable. You won it. You won the bracket challenge. You finished 8th overall.
I didn't even know I won it till Bake just told me. Bake just called and said I won. I said I didn't win anything. I was 16th in the Butch Moore thing, and then he said, no, the one with the fan. I guess I finished 8th. How about that?
8th out of 2,300.
Wow. Well, let me just say this.
Yeah.
I think I spent 5 minutes doing it, and it was the year of chalk, my friend. I mean, but we talked about this. I think this is what we're getting. I think this is what we're getting with college basketball now. It's going to be the haves and the haves-not. And I think that, I even did a take on the air the other day that the major conferences like the Big Ten, and I think the SEC went all in on basketball. And I think the Big Ten and Ohio State in particular is going to have to make a decision. Do they want to get behind basketball? We know they are behind football, but I think the SEC saw an opportunity there, and they've gone all in.
True or false? You watched the game last night in a Tebow jersey.
A Tim Tebow jersey?
Yeah, you love the Gators. You're a big Gator.
No, but
right?
I did text a former coach last night. Urban Meyer, I texted him, who coached there for a while. Yeah, I just didn't.
I think there's only one former coach with Florida ties you'd be texting with.
You know what, though? You're right. I heard heard you guys talking about the penalty. I mean, the whistles.
Oh,
My
the fouls,
goodness.
yeah.
Let me tell you something. And if I saw that guy go one more to the table, he was eating that up. We're going to, okay, dude. It clearly just they milked it too long.
They are ruining basketball at the college level and to a lesser extent at the NBA level with the replay, how long it takes.
I know.
Look, at the Final Four, you and I sitting watching on Channel 10 saw 16 replays by the time it took him to get to the damn desk.
Yes.
Like, just get in his ear and say, you got it right, play on.
Yes.
Let's move it along.
It's so dramatic, and he's looking and all that. And now I will say this: they let him play. It was a pretty physical game. They let him play.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, this was. I thought that I felt bad for Houston because I thought they had their shots, but I mean I don't know what they were doing at the end of the game. You had time to get a shot off.
No, and it's interesting, too, that kind of the symmetry of it all. You are old enough to remember Jim Valvano and NC State beating Houston on a Derek Whittenburg shot that fell short, and then Lorenzo Charles dunked it to win the national championship. And Valvano was running around like a maniac. He's the youngest guy to ever win a national championship. He was 37. Todd Golden's 39. It's Florida over Houston this time, but also just the most improbable way to lose. I mean, Houston lost that one on an airball shot from Whittenburg that they didn't block out the guy who ended up dunking it. And last night they didn't even get a shot off.
No, you saw Sampson. He was just like incredulous. Like, what are you doing? And I couldn't figure out it. I guess did the guy? It was like he didn't even go after the ball. He just stood. I mean, I don't know.
He couldn't,
figure out
because
what
if he
happened.
touched it, it's a travel, and I think he was just rushed. I just think they took too long to get into the set, and if
I mean,
he
you
would have
gotta
had
get
more
a shot off.
Yeah, he should have pump faked, and the guy would have blown by, and then he could have got an open look. But I think he thought he was running out of time because it took him so long to get into their options. So I don't know. It was a great tournament, though. Like, all sorts of drama to it. It's pretty crazy that Florida is now the only school to win 3 national championships in football and basketball, and it's all come in the last 40 years, 30 plus years, if you want to add, if you do the football stuff with it, won their first national title in 1996. So in the last 30 years, all of these national titles have happened. And I do think it's partly because of what you talked about. And I think Ohio State's going to have some real decisions. Ross Bjork's going to have some real decisions. I'm curious your thoughts on this. Can Ohio State be great at the other revenue generating sports other than football if they're going to have 36 sports still?
I don't know, and that's going to be some of the things that Ross is going to have to take a look at. The university brass is going to have to take a look at, because here's the bottom line. In football, Ohio State is king. We know that. And in this state, football is king with Ohio State. But in basketball, there are other challengers. And you have Xavier, you have Cincinnati, you have Dayton. And those 3 schools are going to be competing with Ohio State with the NIL money, with the transfer portal. And, basketball's a weird sport from the standpoint that, the numbers are so low. And, I think back to like some of the smaller schools that we saw that were, basketball powerhouses like Georgetown and St. John's and schools like that back in the day. I mean, these were not big-time universities, and yet they were great in basketball. Dayton has had runs in basketball in the past. So you're absolutely right. The landscape is changing so quickly with college athletics, and you're going to have to make decisions as to how you're going to handle it. I know Ohio State has already made some decisions with sports that were scholarship that are now going to be walk-on, or not walk-on, but club sports.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you do it. I mean, the budgets are the budgets, and now that you're having to pay the players, and got the NIL and all this stuff, it's going to be a delicate thing. And you're absolutely right with 36 sports. Ohio State went the opposite direction with Title IX and everything. My question is, if football would ever leave the NCAA, if they would ever form a super conference, what does that do then to Title IX? I mean, how would that work if the NCAA didn't manage it? Because I've often said what we're witnessing, especially with football, is the professionalism of it at the college level.
Yep. Yeah, I think if you privatize football, my stance on this for 15 years has always been, if you privatize football, that gets you out of that. If you run it for a for-profit business, then I think that gets you out of it. Now, I don't know how fans would feel about kids. I mean, would you still make them go to class?
I don't know. I don't know.
Or are they just 19 to 21-year-olds who are representing Ohio State for salary? I mean, they're kind of headed there anyway.
Well, and, I think it's funny back, not that long ago when I would hear college presidents say, we're never going to be the farm system for the NFL. Really? I mean, you've been the farm system for the NFL for, and the NFL, I often argue they got the sweetest farm system there is. They don't pay for it.
Yeah, right.
And, they allow they allow the colleges to go out, recruit these top talent kids, make them household names. Everyone knows who Jeremiah Smith is.
Yeah.
But, Adam Fantilli with the Blue Jackets, their first-round pick a few years. I mean, unless you're a hockey, whatever, you didn't know who he was.
No.
And you look at the NHL draft, the Major League Baseball draft. The NBA draft's a little better. But you look at what football does with the NFL draft and the NFL, I mean, it's insane, and I mean, it's the greatest farm system in the world. It's free. Ask Major League Baseball how hard it is with having a minor league system. It got cost prohibitive. They cut how many teams? I mean, they cut back. It's crazy.
All right. Masters is this week.
Yes, sir.
I want you to tell me what your order would be at the Augusta National concession stand. All right. Here are your options. Pimento's cheese sandwich, $1.50. Egg salad sandwich, $1.50. Pork barbecue, $3. Masters Club, $3. Chicken salad on honey wheat, $3. Classic chicken, $3. Ham and cheese on rye, turkey and cheese, chicken breast, tuna salad. Where are you going?
I would only eat the barbecue. All that pimento and all those salad, with mayonnaise. I'm not eating that junk. Give me a break. My God.
You'd have to suck down a pimento cheese sandwich. It's tradition.
I don't care if they're paying me to eat it. I'm not eating that stuff. Ugh.
When you go down to Hilton Head, don't you, at one of those, there's a grocery store chain down there that does a ham, tomato, lettuce, onion, pimento cheese sandwich that's pretty damn good.
Well, let me tell you what. You enjoy it. You have all you want. Open a restaurant of it. I'm not eating that. It's like the stuff at work. I don't eat those spreadable foods. It's like all these people at work bring this hummus stuff to work, and I watch them, and I go, what are you eating? I'm not eating that. It's like if I'm going to eat, I want to eat real food. I'm not eating this spreading stuff. I mean, come on, Bo.
Hey, have you been to the Masters?
No, I haven't. I'd like to go, but I'm not going. I'll tell you one thing. The food you just announced doesn't make me really want to go there. Give me a Jack Nicklaus Italian sub that they sell at Muirfield.
Let's work with. We got to get with our guys and see if they can charge $3 for that. Let's go. We'll talk to Dan. See if Dan can get us down to $3 on the Italian subs.
That's 3 pickles.
It'll be here before you know it, buddy. Enjoy the spring game. We'll break it all down next Tuesday. Good talking to you, pal.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you.
All right. There you go. Little Tuesdays with Tiberi on the Brian Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. We hit Thing or Not a Thing up next. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
Winners of the prestigious Platinum Microphone Award every year, given to the best radio station in the world. No need to look it up. It's real. The Fan.
Steel walk behind, zero turn, and stand-on mowers are built to get the job done. Shop online or at your local Steel dealer. Steel. Let's go mow.
Look, there's feelings and then there's the facts. If you're feeling like your finance team is bogged down in mundane manual tasks, the fact is you need Ramp. Ramp is the corporate card that makes the expense process fast and easy. The moment your team makes a purchase, Ramp handles everything. Receipt collection and approvals, the works. With Ramp, you can cut your month-end close from 5 days to 1, customize approval workflows, and get complete control over every transaction. Facts. Over 25,000 businesses trust Ramp, including Shopify and the Boys and Girls Club of America, which is why they were just named #1 in spend management by G2. Facts. Start using Ramp and you'll have more time to spend scaling your business. And that'll feel really good. Upgrade to Ramp for free today and get $250 at ramp.com/radio. Ramp.com/radio. That's ramp.com/radio.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Sometimes you don't realize something was bothering you
until it's gone.
That's how you're going to feel
after we work our magic at your house.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Legend has it, underneath the NJM insurance offices lies a mysterious room of long-forgotten, moldy mascot memorabilia. Often pitched by ad agencies, always rejected by NJM. Is it real? We may never know. But what is real is NJM's dedication to doing what's right for their customers. Astoundingly, they're proud to put policyholders first. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. Learn more at njm.com.
Insurance underwritten by NJM Insurance Company and its subsidiaries.
Foodie alert! Alton Brown's farewell tour, Last Bite, is coming to Columbus on April 22nd at Mershon Auditorium. Expect culinary chaos and scientific surprises. Tickets are on sale at Ticketmaster. Don't let this delicious opportunity slip away.
Good morning, Doctor.
Doctor?
Hi, Doctor. Doctor?
Dr. Jackson's practice is growing.
What do you mean we're still short-staffed?
He needs a good patient doctor.
How do we not have enough doctors to doctor all these patients?
And he doesn't have the patience to sift through hundreds of resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Buying a home used to feel like a complete headache. Listings here, pre-approval there, financing somewhere else. Now, Rocket is giving every home one address. Rocket.com. A single seamless homeownership platform to help you find, buy, sell, finance, and refinance your home. Everything you need, all under one roof. Visit Rocket.com, the new home for all things homeownership. Rocket. Own the dream.
Common Man and T-Bone are known for many things. And while great radio ain't one of them, shoving food down their gullets is their specialty. Join Man and Bone for Fat Boy Food Tip.
Live at 3 or on the podcast.
Your home for fat. The Fan.
That's are us. When dreams don't get in, that's are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
That's are us. When dreams don't get in, that's are us.
Hey, it's Leslie from Pella Columbus.
I'm Wilson from that other window place.
And today, Pella's excited to announce our 100-year anniversary.
Cut! Leslie, you accidentally said 100 years.
Not an accident, Wilson.
What?
When you do the windows that look the best, you tend to stick around for a while.
I can't compete with that. Buy from her.
Get the windows that have been around for 100 years. The windows that homeowners rated the leading window brand in Columbus at PellaColumbus.com.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. If you love a good pie analogy,
think of the cap as a pie, and once you take out one piece, there's less left for the next guy.
Then this is the radio show for you. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing on a Tuesday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
In an appearance Monday on 106.7 The Fan in Washington, D.C., Capitals owner Ted Leonis relayed a story how Alex Ovechkin turned down several national media appearances, including The Tonight Show, after tying Wayne Gretzky last week in career NHL goals. Leonis told the station that Ovechkin prefers to focus on locking in with his teammates ahead of their playoff run. Thing or not a thing?
I'm going to go not a thing. I think at the time of the year of it, I mean, they're trying to win a cup. He's got one cup with the Caps under his belt. I'm sure, I mean, Sid's got 3. They've kind of always looked across the way at each other. That Washington team's the 1 seed in the East. So to me, I'm going to say not a thing. I think it's just time of year is why it happens. And he's looking at trying to cap truly a remarkable story. If he was to get the Gretzky record, now his record, in a game fewer than Wayne did it, and then to do so in a Stanley Cup winning season, that's pretty heady stuff. So I don't think it's a thing. I think it makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think this is a thing, and I'm guessing probably Ovechkin doesn't love Leonsis talking about this because Ovi seems like a pretty private guy for the most thing. But good on him. He's got bigger and better things to worry about right now. The record he's got, how cool would that be if he wins the Stanley Cup in the same season? And, Bo, you've talked about this. There's been a lot of rumors that he wanted to break this goal record and then head home to the KHL. Yeah. What a better way to do it than to get the goal record and a Stanley Cup and ride off into the sunset.
Following their 14-10 win at Johns Hopkins over the weekend, the 11-1 Ohio State men's lacrosse team jumped to number 2 in the D1 men's media rankings on Monday. The second-ranked Buckeyes will host number 6 Maryland Saturday at 2 p.m. It's the highest national ranking for Ohio State in men's lacrosse program history. Thing or not a thing?
Well, it's a huge thing. Nick Myers is my guy. He's the longest tenured Ohio State coach of a collegiate sport. I don't know how many people know that, but he's been here the longest of all the coaches. They built the stadium there, which is unbelievable, right across from the Woody. Stunning accomplishment. this season started with a loss, and they've won 11 in a row. I took notice of it being quite real when they won at Notre Dame a couple of weeks ago, and I mentioned that on the show, and then they went to Denver and won, and then they went to Johns Hopkins and won, and now all of a sudden they just kept inching up and now ranked second in the country. Here's the beauty here, folks. You're going to be able to go from spring game and walk right over. Just walk right over. My guess it'll be sold out. Number 6 Maryland, they've won national titles. That's an awesome job. Good job out of Coach Myers. Good job out of the program.
Yeah, it is a really cool thing. Somebody in the YouTube chat earlier, and I have to go back and look for it and see exactly who it was, but they said Ohio State has 5 national champions in the past calendar year. Good on the Buckeyes for that, and we know how good the men's hockey team was this season. The women's ice hockey team has been as well. What was it? Jesse Mendez won another wrestling championship for the Buckeyes. So it's one of the things, Bo, I worry about in this new era of college athletics. It's awful cool that the Buckeyes win all these national championships. Will they be able to keep doing that, though, as we've talked about?
Ice Cube has reached a deal to write and star in a new Friday movie for Warner Brothers and New Line Cinema. The new feature, which is titled Last Friday, will mark the 4th entry into the comedy series and the first in over 20 years, following up 2002's Friday After Next. New Line president and CCO Richard Berner shared a deal had been reached with Ice Cube to develop Last Friday in an interview recently with The Hollywood Reporter. Thing or not a thing?
Let me ask you this. Is Chris Tucker involved?
Unknown.
I think that's your jumping off point. If Chris Tucker is involved, then yeah. So we're all old enough. Reese, you're a little younger, but Baker and I are in the vicinity of when you saw Friday and you saw Chris Tucker for the first time, you'd never seen anything like it. And you really thought that he was headed for like an Eddie Murphy run that Eddie Murphy had in the 80s with 48 Hours and Beverly Hills Cop and Coming to America. Like, you really thought he was going to have one of those type of runs. I know he made a lot of money with the Jackie, what were those ones?
Rush Hour,
the Jackie Chan ones. I know he made a lot of money with those, but it really didn't go beyond that, which is pretty wild because the first time you saw Friday and he was in it, you went superstar, like absolute star. I've only seen the first one. I haven't seen any of the others. I didn't even know there were 3 more.
So I will say this is not a thing, even saying that I will probably watch this. I don't think Chris Tucker's going to be in it, Bo, because I think he's kind of went into seclusion a little bit, and you don't really hear from him anywhere anymore. And I'm guessing Miss Parker doesn't quite look the same 20 years later and all of
Actually,
that.
I saw her. Somebody she looks great.
Really?
She looks great. Yeah,
That's
somebody
amazing.
posted that she looks great. Yeah.
So
no Bernie Mac though, obviously.
Yeah, Friday was great. Next Friday was okay. Friday After Next was pretty bad. So I don't know if we needed another Friday movie, and maybe 20 years later it'll be really good, but it's not a thing, but I'm going to watch it.
All right, this is pretty wild. So Friday actually wasn't Chris Tucker's first. He was in some other stuff. It was his breakout, though. That's 1995. All right. He's in The Fifth Element in 97. He does a movie called Money Talks in 1997
Money
with
Talks
Charlie
was good.
Sheen. Money Talks was fun. I saw that one a couple of times. He's in Jackie Brown. Then the Rush Hour series starts. That goes through 2007, where he basically only does Rush Hour. From 1998 to 2007, just Rush Hour. Then it's like Silver Linings Playbook. He only worked 4 times in the last 18 years. 4 times. One in a music video. And he was in Air in 2023. That's it. Just has not worked. Oh, he's in development for Rush Hour 4.
I just saw that. So Mike Epps, who was in Next Friday and Friday After Next, was asked about Chris Tucker. And he said, quote, hopefully we can get him in it. We need to get Chris Tucker on there because people still love Chris Tucker. He's still smoky. He laid it down. He positioned me to do it. So, Chris, if you're listening, we need you, baby boy. Come on back, end quote.
I think
TBD.
I think he probably just made so much money on Rush Hour, he probably doesn't have to work.
I mean, the royalties from those movies in the 90s,
huge
he
hits.
didn't have to do much of anything after that.
I mean, if we're bringing everyone back, we might as well get Debo in the mix, too.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, wow.
Because the other guy who played, John Witherspoon, isn't with us, I know, right?
Yeah, he
was the
passed in
dad.
the past couple of years.
He's gone. Bernie Mac's gone. Yeah. I swear, though, I think Miss Parker still has it. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so
I gotta look that up.
Timothy Lister Jr. played Debo, and he passed away in 2020.
Oh, my gosh.
We got some funerals to catch up on in this movie series.
That's brutal. Yeah. All right. So that would be very entertaining. It's very entertaining anytime John Gruden hosts his quarterback camp. It's made more so when he does so with Will Howard because the chemistry between the two of them. Bob and I were talking about this on Morning Juice. I was watching the national championship game, and then I was watching clips of the Gruden quarterback camp with Will Howard. We're going to share some of that with you. Some very candid comments and a lot of fun between Gruden and Howard. We'll have that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Matty Ice is currently bathing himself in creamy jalapeno dip. And I've officially run out of ways to tease this show. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan.
This is This Date in Reds Baseball with team historian Greg Rhodes.
If there's one thing Reds fans remember about their opening day experiences, it's the weather. And in the most heroic of terms, that was the coldest opener ever. The wind was blowing like a hurricane. It was raining cats and dogs. Well, one year it was all true. No exaggerations needed. Opening day, 1985, on this April 8th, the Reds played Montreal. And it rained. Then the sun came out. Then it snowed. And the wind whipped around Riverfront. All 4 seasons made an appearance. And if anybody remembers, the Reds won. A weather bonanza this April 8, 1995. This date in Reds baseball.
This Date in Reds Baseball is brought to you by the Cincinnati Reds Hall of Fame and Museum, presented by Dinsmore. Celebrating greatness, preserving history, providing inspiration.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and, of course, stops your snoring. That's the main point. It's quick and comfortable and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and now he's expanding his practice to better serve his patients with a brand new location in Marysville. I love Marysville. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Do not delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. And now, sleepbettermarysville.com too.
Spring forward, Columbus, with the Waterworks and Header Heating and Cooling Services. We're here to thaw you out with this limited time offer. Get up to $2,000 off a new complete furnace and AC system. This offer is too good to pass up. The Waterworks and Header Heating and Cooling now together to serve you better with $2,000 off a new complete furnace and AC system. This offer won't last. Call us today, 614-232-2222. That's 614-232-2222.
Yeah, boss asked us to get the Ohio Lottery kiosks ready for the new $20 scratch-off, $2 million extreme cash. With $38 million in total prizes, we had to go big. We had cup holders, monster truck tires, even installed air horns in case somebody reveals the extreme symbol and wins every prize on the scratch-off. Boss thinks the light show's a bit much, but gotta celebrate $2 million top prize winners somehow. So yeah, play $2 million extreme cash from the Ohio Lottery. And if you can tell my boss I did a good job, that'd be cool too. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
Huntington is banking that just clicks. Like asterisk-free checking with no monthly maintenance fee, no matter what. It's your money, right? So keep more of it. Make the switch today at huntington.com/yourmoney.
Spring into a new vehicle at Crown Automotive Group of Dublin.
Luxury, power, and adventure, all waiting for you.
Explore our vast selection of exquisite Mercedes-Benz, the all-new rugged Ineos Grenadier, and the powerful lineup of Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram vehicles. Crown Automotive Group in Dublin is the only dealership in Columbus awarded a J.D. Power Dealer of Excellence for the customer sales experience. Visit Crown Automotive Group of Dublin on Perimeter Drive in Dublin.
Or online at crowncarsdublin.com.
Crown Automotive Group, the better way to buy.
Before you start your day, UDF has already started baking your breakfast. We're making biscuits and croissants in our bakery served with sausage, egg, and cheese before you hit your first alarm. Fresh baked breakfast sandwiches from United Dairy Farmers. UDF. Mornings made for you.
Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for basketball and hockey this season. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every one-timer and buzzer-beating 3 live and in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Don't miss out. Visit vividseats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
The sports calendar is heating up, and with ESPN Bet Sportsbook, you can go from checking news and stats to placing bets in just a couple of taps. Stream games, bet live, and get exclusive offers when you link your ESPN account. Right now, you can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with promo code JOEQ to get started today. That's JOEQ, JOEQ. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The Blue Jackets look to halt a 3-game slide and keep their slim playoff hopes alive. Tonight, Jackets will host the Ottawa Senators. Face-off is 7 o'clock. We'll have fan pregame coverage at 6:30. Elvis Merzlikins will get the nod in net. Columbus is 8 points back of that second wild card spot in the East. Jackets have 5 games remaining after tonight. They'll host the Buffalo Sabres Thursday. In baseball, it'll be a cold day up in Cleveland as the Guardians host the White Sox at 4:10 in their 2025 home opener. Jack Sawyer will throw out the ceremonial first pitch. Temperatures are expected in the low 30s at game time. In San Francisco tonight, the Reds and Giants play in game 2 of 3. Cincinnati won game 1 last night 2-0. Into the NBA Tuesday, the Cavs can lock up the top seed in the East with a win against the Chicago Bulls. This update sponsored by Germain Toyota, the best selection of new and used cars in Central Ohio. View their full selection of vehicles online at germaintoyota.net.
If you say something with enough confidence, it must be true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
It's going to be hard historically to put perspective on Will Howard's 1 year here. If you go back even to this time a year ago, but even most especially when he initially committed, the name kind of came a little bit out of nowhere. There was talk of trying to get in on Riley Leonard and Dylan Gabriel, and one of the guys that I talked about was Cam Ward a lot. I said that's the guy I'd like to see is Cam Ward from Washington State. And one of the things that we've come to find out later was that for Cam, it was about how can I maximize what I want financially. I don't know if Ohio State was ever in on Cam Ward or not, but they were in on Howard. There was something that Ryan Day liked about Howard's makeup. There was something that they liked about him coming in and competing with Devin Brown. And what we saw immediately in camp and to a certain degree in spring is that this guy had a natural charisma to him, a natural leadership to him. It's a pretty wild juxtaposition of the heartbreak of him quarterbacking the first Oregon loss and the Michigan loss, and then what followed. Because it's an incredible, we talk all the time about the sliding doors moment for Coach Day to go from the pain of that loss to Michigan to what followed. Will Howard is the one that he walked hand in hand with in terms of the way that we are going to remember them. Without that run through December and January, there's no way to define it other than failure. There isn't. It wouldn't be. You played 3 ranked teams, you lost to 2 of them, but they didn't. It flipped, and they won it all. And so now you get all of the flowers, and you get all the toasts and everything that comes with it. And I think it's something, fellas, and we'll get to some Howard sound with John Gruden with Barstool on the quarterback camp, but this is going to be one that evolves. But I think largely most people are going to remember his incredible leadership and the fact that in the games that mattered most as the season was being decided, he was the best quarterback on the field against Tennessee, against Oregon, against Texas, and against Notre Dame.
As well as you can play the quarterback position in that Rose Bowl game against Oregon.
Yeah.
Will Howard did it. I mean, and it was similarly impressive against Tennessee. And then you talked about the final 2 games in the semifinal and the national championship. But this was a guy, to the point made earlier, that knew how to dog right away. Mm-hmm. And it was so evident to his teammates that this was an alpha on a team full of alphas. Mm-hmm. And he carried it with him throughout the season. You know, there was putting out the cigarette after Ohio State beat Indiana. There was the emotion, the elation after beating Penn State. There was the kind of galvanizing the team after that Michigan loss, in which we're still kind of not sure and we'll probably never know exactly his health during that game against the Wolverines. But then to pick the team up, and there's that indelible image of at the Cotton Bowl of him just punching Jack Sawyer in the chest because they're just so worked up at that moment that it'll only be the one of the most legendary kind of runs. Like Cardale Jones, Will Howard, like those are legendary postseason performances that'll put them in the pantheon of Ohio State only forever.
And it's the 4-game playoff run, right? He was so good in that 4-game playoff run. And the leadership along the way, I think sometimes gets lost in translation, like him being a part of the offensive line room when Seth McLaughlin goes down and trying to boost those guys up and being there as a rallier for Carson Hinsman. And you mentioned punching Jack in the chest, and he talked about that in the Gruden camp a little bit with his playing with an edge and how he's normally a pretty quiet guy, but when there are those times that the team needs it, he loves that and loves to be that guy and show that emotion. And sometimes that stuff gets lost, but will never get lost is the way he played in those 4 playoff games.
Here's the other thing, him versus Cardale, because those are the things that you come up is the comparison, right? But Cardale never played a game with pressure. No one expected anything of him. Whatever, it was all house money. Whatever, they were double-digit underdogs in both the Alabama game and maybe not double-digit in the Oregon game, but they were underdogs in the Oregon game. They were underdogs in the game against Wisconsin. Like, Will Howard came here to be the cherry on top of the perfect football Sunday. And if he failed, you never live it down. Because this team had everything else. The only thing it didn't have was the quarterback. That was it. And he was their choice. And with that comes the pressure of a state, all of it. I mean, it's incredible. The one thing that I think that was really cool about him, though, is he didn't force anything. He has natural leadership. He's a natural charisma. And he talked about this with Gruden, courtesy of Barstool on the quarterback camp. Not rushing the leadership was a big part of his success.
The first thing I said when I got to Ohio State was like, I want to get to know these guys. I want to have relationships, because they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So they ain't going to listen to me if they don't know me. I wasn't going to step on anybody's toes. I was like, you know what? I want to earn their respect and their trust first, and then I'm going to step into that leadership position. So I felt like I did a good job of coming in the winter and just grinding.
He absolutely crushed that. Gruden also talked to him about some of those heartbreaking losses we talked to. Here is Will with John Gruden on the final play of the Oregon loss.
In my mind, before this play, they're telling me we need 15 yards for the kicker. They dropped into coverage. The only thing that I could have taken was probably that flat route. It would have been at about 6 yards, but I'm like, I can't do that. I got to get more yards. But looking back at it, what I learned from this, man, is like, at the end of the day, I got to give my team a chance. Every single Wednesday, from there on out, we did the same exact 2-minute drill situation. As hard as it was in this moment, man, I think made coming back and beating them in that Rose Bowl all the more sweeter.
Gruden also asked him inside his mind after the loss to Michigan. Here is Will Howard there.
The thing is that was what we clung to, is that we still had to play for. And in this moment, man, it didn't feel like it. It felt like the world's kind of collapsing around you, and everybody's hating you, and the reason you come to Ohio State is to beat that team up north, man. It was tough, and we had a players only meeting that next week, and we basically said, like, we still have the national championship. Obviously it didn't end the way that we wanted it to, and it was just brutal. As much as this game hurt, the only thing that we could do is stay together and for a common purpose, and that was
you got to be one mentally tough football team.
Damn right.
To overcome this.
100%.
This whole thing is so good. I really recommend. It's better really than Gruden on ESPN because it's totally unfettered. Truly is. It's a really good listen. Let's have a little fun with Will too. He was asked about when he knew that they had Tennessee beat.
Well, the funny thing is they came out with their shirts on or their shirts off, and they ran over to the opposite end zone and immediately put them back on. I was like, what are these clowns doing, man? Like, at that moment, I knew we had them.
I didn't notice that on the broadcast. There was all the images of them without their shirts on. I didn't realize they put them back on. I did not know that. Also, Will's comments on the second Oregon game, which is as good as I think anyone's ever played quarterback at Ohio State.
We were going to come out. We weren't holding any bullets back, and I loved it. That first play of the game, we ran a little pump, smoke route, and then G ran the little wheel route. And, I thought we were going to probably run the smoke first, set it up. And he came out. He was like, no, we're running that first play of the game. We're setting the tone. And I was like, yeah, let's go. I love that.
It just fit. It was maybe improbable that certainly when we first found out that it was going to be a Will Howard, but as soon as you heard him talk, as soon as you saw him play, it all added up. Because what Ryan Day was doing was he had to find the perfect quarterback for that team. And you couldn't bring somebody in there that was going to try to overwhelm or make it his or make it about them. You had to find someone culturally who would fit in with that team of veterans. You had to have a pro. And that's what they got with Will Howard. They got a pro.
And I think it's an interesting thing to think about when we think of this quarterback competition for Ohio State, right? Because they're both extremely talented. And we've heard a lot about Julian Sayen's release and Lincoln Keenhol's athletic ability. And I don't think there's any doubt that both of them could do the job. And sure, one of them is probably going to rise up and be an actual better quarterback. But there's also that whole who fits with this team and who fits with this team wants to be in their identity. And I think it's something that we forget about because maybe, who knows what's going to happen moving forward. Maybe it turns out Cam Ward is a better quarterback and has a great pro career and Will Howard doesn't. But I don't know if Cam Ward would have fit this team last year. Will sure did.
This is a different ask. These kids this year. These kids this year aren't, whoever wins it, there isn't 13 guy. There isn't that senior class that's got that on them. I think these two kids are going to be able to grow a little bit in the position. I actually think what Will was asked to do is one of the hardest things that's ever been asked. I mean, you just think the pressure that's on Ryan last year, that's on the program last year. All those guys came back. We're all coming back. Remember, 2 fists out, fighting with both fists forward. This was a fully engaged Buckeye operation last year. And I don't know how many quarterbacks, and I hope NFL teams pay attention to this. I don't know how many quarterbacks in the country could have paratrooped into a room with 20 alphas who had been there and spilled the blood, sweat, and tears for years and fit in and then inevitably lead the way he did. They did a masterful job with the guys. Seth McLaughlin, too. Howard, McLaughlin, Judkins. They found talent. Caleb Downs, they found talent, but they also found personality fits. If the personalities didn't work, it doesn't work. You don't rebound from the loss to Michigan if you don't have a true togetherness and everybody rowing in the same direction. So that's something we probably don't talk about enough, is the personality fit that they found last year leading into what ended up being one of the more magical seasons in Buckeye history. I don't know what to make of this. We had a House settlement heading towards an approval. We'll attempt to sort it out coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
Bring more fresh to Easter with great deals at Meijer. Savory Meijer's Spiral Sliced Half Ham is 79 cents a pound with M-Perks Limit 1. Discount automatically applied once you enter your M-Perks ID. Del Monte canned vegetables are $1 each. And a 5-pound bag of yellow or red potatoes is only $4.99. Decorate your home and table with Easter decor. And make Easter a good deal sweeter for your little peeps with toys, candy, and more. Hop into Meijer, where Easter is a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
I can't wait to meet her. Oh my gosh.
Put your hands together for new Dr. Pepper Blackberry and Dr. Pepper Blackberry Zero Sugar.
There she is! Woohoo! Yeah! It's full Dr. Pepper!
With sweet blackberry flavor!
Dr. Pepper Blackberry, I'm obsessed with your succulent taste. Please marry me!
No! Marry me! Marry me, or I'm gonna freak out!
Try new Dr. Pepper Blackberry.
It's a pepper thing!
Good morning, Doctor. Doctor?
Hi, Doctor. Doctor?
Dr. Jackson's practice is growing.
What do you mean we're still short-staffed?
He needs a good patient doctor.
How do we not have enough doctors to doctor all these patients?
And he doesn't have the patience to sift through hundreds of resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Buying a home used to feel like a complete headache. Listings here, pre-approval there, financing somewhere else. Now, Rocket is giving every home one address. Rocket.com. A single seamless homeownership platform to help you find, buy, sell, finance, and refinance your home. Everything you need, all under one roof. Visit Rocket.com, the new home for all things homeownership. Rocket. Own the dream.
Look, there's feelings, and then there's the facts. If you're feeling like your finance team is bogged down in mundane manual tasks, the fact is, you need Ramp. Ramp is the corporate card that makes the expense process fast and easy. The moment your team makes a purchase, Ramp handles everything. Receipt collection and approvals, the works. With Ramp, you can cut your month-end close from 5 days to 1, customize approval workflows, and get complete control over every transaction. Facts. Over 25,000 businesses trust Ramp, including Shopify and the Boys and Girls Club of America, which is why they were just named #1 in spend management by G2. Facts. Start using Ramp and you'll have more time to spend scaling your business. And that'll feel really good. Upgrade to Ramp for free today and get $250 at ramp.com/radio. Ramp.com/radio. That's RAMP.com/radio.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, here are some ways to listen to The Fan. You can download the Fan app, or listen at home on your smart speaker, or open up the iHeartRadio app, or hold your head out the window and hear Common Man scream. Happy listening from the Dopes at The Fan.
Hey there, I'm Brad. I'm about to win the Tuesday Night Bowling League Championship. I'm also a highway worker for the Ohio Department of Transportation. When you move over and slow down, you're not only giving me room to work, you're making sure I can bowl the winning strike with my buddies.
Roadside workers have lives and families, but when they're on the job, they put it all on the line to protect and serve us. Remember, they're not just roadside workers. Thank you for moving over and slowing down.
Brought to you by ODOT, USDOT, NHTSA, and ODPS.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Damaro.
April is Autism Acceptance Month, and it's an important reminder that we must support and celebrate all students, no exceptions. That's what Ohio's public schools do. We don't pick and choose our students. We provide safe, welcoming learning environments for all. That's why Ohio lawmakers must support our public schools in this state budget.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
It'll look beautiful outside with plenty of sunshine. However, don't let that fool you, as temperatures will struggle to get into the low 40s. With breezy winds, it'll feel like we're in the 20s to low 30s. For tonight, another freezing night as lows drop down in the mid to upper 20s under mostly clear skies. And for Wednesday, 50s in the afternoon. For the Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with your 10 weather impact forecast.
Question from a listener: do you dopes ever get tired of talking about Ohio State? No. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan. With friends like these, who needs former college football players? This is Bishop and Friends.
Listen, I got to tell you, I'm to the point with I think this is what we know on the college pay for play stuff that's been unintended consequences, right? I think everybody had decent intentions when this was all allowed out here. And what the folks running college athletics decided was to just, the hell with it. Let's make it all legal. Like, we blew it in court. We get battered in court year after year after year, case after case after case. It keeps being disproven. Let's just make it all legal. So NIL's legal, free transfers legal, portals, all this stuff. Let's just make it all legal and see what happens. And what happened was an incredible amount of private money went into the sport to buy players and rosters. This is the world we're living in now. football programs like Ohio State do it at the best, very highest level, where they are able to thread the needle on guys who really want to be here, who really want to be developed, while also enriching them in terms of their personal wealth. Teams have gone in like a one-off. Of course, who can forget Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher and all the money that they spent and how that fell so flat at their program, and he inevitably got fired. You just saw it in the national championship game. You saw Florida and Houston, two teams that had transfer guys. Florida littered with them. They won a national championship. They went all in on it. We're seeing it next year at Texas Tech. On the football side of things, they got some oil money. They got some landman money. They threw it into it. They were big time in the portal. You saw it at SMU. SMU is probably the best example. SMU said, we don't need any TV money. We're going to fund this all privately. Just let us into the club. And in the first year in the club, they made the college football playoff. In the first year in the club, they took the head coach from USC to SMU. They took the head coach from Arizona women's basketball to SMU. They started to really flex financially all of the money that they had. And so this is kind of where you are in terms of trying to figure out what this is. When you talk to coaches, what they want is guardrails. They want rules. It's very difficult to have rules that can be administered or that can be investigated with true penalty. That's what we found. Here's the other thing we found, though, guys, and this part's really important. The vast majority of you out there do not care. The amount of people who would get in our mentions or who would send us emails about how I'm not going to watch college athletics anymore as soon as they're millionaires, you're lying. You lied. You did watch. A great many of you watched. In fact, the only thing that is more of a sure thing than the NCAA men's tournament, kind of the NCAA women's tournament, and the NCAA football is the NFL. Everything else, it's variable. NBA's variable. It depends on the matchups. Hockey tries to break through. Tough. Hell, last year the baseball had the Yankees and the Dodgers. It did okay, but it's not what this is. So this hasn't affected your passion to go watch it. It hasn't affected your passion to watch it on television or to go there in person. All of that is still there. So I struggle with how much of this to even get into, because I think all that any of us want is, tell me what the rules are, and I'll operate under them. That seems to be where we're all at. So this reporting yesterday, U.S. District Court Judge Claudia Wilkin began the final House NCAA settlement hearing. This was around 11:30 a.m. Eastern time yesterday. Livy Dunn, of all people, was in on this. And the idea here is this, and this is from Stuart Mandel's reporting. There's an attorney named Jeffrey Kessler who brought the House case. He claims $2.75 billion settlement will be one of the largest in the history of antitrust. $2.75 billion. Now, the plaintiffs and NCAA attorneys are suggesting there could be a hearing every year over 10 years of the settlement where a new class of college athletes would have the right to object to it. This is why this is just never ending. Judge Wilkin indicates she still has concerns about the portion of the settlement limiting third-party NIL payments to athletes in regards to antitrust. No kidding. Because you can't say, well, you cannot limit. This is the problem as long as they're all going to be student athletes. You cannot limit what someone can make. Not in a court of law. If someone's willing to pay it, they're willing to receive it. This was 4 hours into this thing. Wilkins said, the judge said, basically, I think it's a good settlement. I think it's worth pursuing, but she wants parties to try to fix the issues she's brought up today before she decides whether to approve it. Plaintiffs and defendants' lawyers say they'll get back to her within a week. At this point, we'll decide what to do next. I saw that the payout on this is going to work out to about $120,000 for everybody who's in it. In this lawsuit, the $2.75 billion will be spread out, and everyone will get around $120,000. So that's the other a part of this thing. The settlement would go into effect on July 1st. Do I think this changes anything? I don't. Because, guys, I see no scenario where once you've opened this can of worms of NIL and third-party financing rosters, I see no scenario where you can put that genie back in the bottle. I think it's out.
Yeah, this settlement's only so that the NCAA can get some protections over being sued constantly. But even in the arguments yesterday, they're like, well, this could be brought back every decade.
Yeah.
Or at least once a decade. And now it could be every other year. Someone, with a new crop of athletes, because I think this does have a statute of limitations of like a certain year. The athletes after that point or before that point aren't getting anything. And Livy Dunn, what she's objecting to is like the formula for figuring out how much these athletes are paid. And I can't see in a world where this is fair for everybody. And it's not. But I think the only way to fix any of this is the one thing that they won't do. Mm-hmm. And that's to have everybody sign contracts and to make them employees of the university. That's the only way you fix this. If not, you set yourself up for every single problem that has already been brought about. It just gets worse for you, the universities, and the NCAA.
Yeah.
Because we don't care. Like the fan base, fans don't care. Listeners sitting there go, when does Ohio State kick off against Texas? It's the only thing that really matters to anybody. And for this to take 7 hours, like at 7:30, you had the attorney for the plaintiff, Steve Berman, telling reporters afterwards he thinks the judge is going to move fast and predicted they could have final approval on this settlement in 3 weeks. Good luck with that.
Yeah, I think not only do I think most people not care, I think most people are unaware. Like, I think we're knee deep in it. We talk about it all the time. Like, it's constantly swirling because it's what we talk about the most is college sports at the highest level here at Ohio State. I noticed this in the college football playoff. Like, are you aware that the portal's open? Wait, what's a portal? What are you talking about? Are you aware that somebody could, like, when Bo Prabula, like, left Penn State in the middle of the playoff? I don't know how many people were aware that he could do that. That's where we're at. I mean, the portal was open in the NCAA tournament, men and women. It was wide open. So I don't know what this does. I know that athletic departments are banking on it. When we had Ross on when we were out at camp, and he talked about a $300 million athletic department trying to find new revenue streams and all of these things. What all of them wanted was, okay, it's $20 million a year we're going to pay to our athletes. So that's always the jumping off part, though, isn't it? All right, so let's say we get $20 million a year we're going to pay to our athletes. Who gets what? Who gets it? Are we still going to pretend that Julian Sand or Lincoln Keenholz or Jeremiah Smith or Caleb Downs is due the same amount, or should settle for the same amount as somebody who's on the pistol team or men's volleyball? Are we going to do that? And at a place like Ohio State, we have that many varsity sports. Can you do that and stay viable? I would say no.
Get Mike Brown in there and tell him about that pie. Hey, are you not filled with the money you're getting? Well, look.
We just talked about this a little bit ago, right? With all these national championships, Ohio State wins at all these other sports. I don't know if we can expect those to keep happening.
Well, I don't even know how many of those sports. That's the other thing when you run an athletic department like the way that this one is run. Like, how many of those sports are even competed with other teams in your conference or in your region? You know, I mean, that's the other part. So it just feels like any time there is some sort of we're on to something, there's 70 more questions that crop up from it. And it just is a never ending. You're an athletic quicksand. It just, there's no way out. You just struggle all you want. You just keep sinking. And that's kind of where it is as an athletic department. By the way, I'm old enough to where quicksand was something I feared a lot. Really feared quicksand as a kid. People are always stumbling into quicksand. The Blue Jackets have been in quicksand for about a month, quite honestly, and now it feels like it's basically cooked. We'll go inside the mindset of the team with a little bit of Shelley time coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter, and spring is here, and it's time to refresh your yard with Ohio Mulch. With 15 convenient locations in Central Ohio, it's easier than ever to get mulch ready for the season. Now through April 5th, get 5 bags of red, black, or brown mulch for just $10.95. Need it delivered? No problem. Save $50 on home delivery when you order online. Visit OhioMulch.com today and spruce up your yard with the best.
Ohio Mulch, landscape supply, cleaner, greener, better.
You know that project you've been working on, just chipping away at it, dreaming of the day you get to show it off? Then, when you're least expecting it, cancer. And finishing that project actually happens. I would know. I've been restoring this car for years, and today I'm giving it to my granddaughter. It's her 16th birthday and 2 years since my cancer diagnosis.
Mom, you finished it?
Happy birthday, boo-boo. keep making plans.
Visit ohiohealth.com/keepmakingplans to learn more.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here from my friends at High Bank Distillery Co., located right here in Columbus. Introducing their newest product, 614 Vodka, Ohio's house vodka. Perfect to make a drink at home or try when you're out at your favorite local restaurant. Learn more at 614vodka.com.
Do you suffer from leg pain, leg swelling, varicose veins, or leg ulcers? Dr. Barry Zeta and Dr. Joseph Senta at Ohio Vein and Vascular Polaris are pioneers in the vein and vascular field. Dr. Zeta and Dr. Senta can perform minimally invasive procedures that will get you back on track to a pain-free life. Stop living with leg pain and start the process to healthy living with a free healthy leg screening. Go to loveyourveins.com or call 614-324-VEIN. That's 614-324-VEIN or loveyourveins.com.
Skyline nachos are back, and now there's a spicy version. Get them with Skyline's cheddar or habanero cheese, topped with fiery jalapeno slices. But hurry, Skyline's regular and new spicy nachos are only at participating restaurants for a limited time.
The Fan Poll is brought to you by Caster Connection. Visit CasterConnection.com to shop online or to work with our Caster Solution specialists.
The gloves. Shelley time.
Sponsored by Visit Central Florida. Discover the real Florida magic at visitcentralflorida.com.
All right, buddy, we got 6 to go here. You start to do the math on this thing, and since the outdoor game on March 1st, just 4 wins for the Union Blue, 2 of them via shootout. Is there a common thread over this now well over a month of results as we look back on it? Because obviously, big uphill road to climb here to try to track something down at this point.
Yeah, there's a few things. You know, when you look at the games they've won, they've put up 4 more goals in the last 16 to win those. They only got 9 points out of the last 32 available.
Yeah.
And when you look at those wins, it's, high flying, lots of offense that's outscoring the goals against. And it seems like when they play against these playoff teams, they're not getting that easy ice or that easier ice, and there's been moments where they've been not able to get through there and beat the goaltending. So we knew everything was going to tighten up after the trade deadline. We talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that combination with, getting players back, we all get excited, but where do they fit in? And how do they fit in? And I look at other teams around the league, like Florida, who's struggling. Marchand goes down there. They get him back from an injury. He's still kind of trying to find out where he fits in with the team. So, they had a lot of players overachieve early, and kind of there was some unique chemistry found with Del Belbaluz and Putia and different players we hadn't really known in the lineup. But now they're healthy, and there's a little bit of that with the new guys in, and the combinations haven't been right. So, it's been 2 games being shut out. It's been frustrating, but, I think that's the theme is when things are going well and they're getting that ice against teams like Nashville, yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. But still, they weren't playing that brand of hockey. I thought they played a really good game in Toronto in the first period.
Yeah.
Their game was there. And then when the other team adjusts, is it young mistakes? Is it young players maybe being put in too big of situations at critical times in the game? Maybe. But sometimes you got to live with that when you're growing, having kids grow up right in front of you.
What is it that you, as someone who's seen as much and played as long as you have, and you think about these young guys that are kind of going through this for the first time, like when you play meaningful hockey in March, it's different. There's something different. And you used the phrase a couple of times in your answer there about, that the ice, they could take the ice easier earlier in the season. For the audience that jumped on, and God knows there's a ton of people who jumped on the bandwagon of this after the game against Detroit in the outdoor game, which was such a magical thing for the franchise and the city and all of it. How do you articulate that difference over the last month?
Well, goaltending for a lot of these teams has been shored up, like Ottawa, who we're seeing in a second of a 2-game home and home. That's a big deal. When your goaltending solidifies your lineup, and look at Toronto the other night, their goaltender held down the first period as the Blue Jackets came out with some really good moments.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can game plan against, all right, Kent Johnson, young player, top 6. He's going to be out there a lot. When he gets the puck, he tends to do this. You know, you have a book on these guys now after 65 games in and back into last year where you can show examples of tendencies. Fantilli in the middle of the ice, okay. In the third period, or the second period when it's a long change, he might start doing this and he might be cheating the offense. Where, you know, that's in them. That's part of their pedigree to be game breakers when they were in college. And Fantilli now has played the most hockey he's ever played in the season to this point. Right? He only played 41 last year. He came from college the year before. He's elevated. He thinks he has it figured out at times. The opposition has a game plan against these guys specifically. And, you know, especially the middle of the ice. We always praise Monahan. It's because there's a veteran savvy there. But now he's playing with different wingers again because they're looking for combinations. So when things aren't set and chemistry isn't there, at least with two guys on every line, then you lose something. And I think that little bit that's lost is where teams take advantage throughout a 60-minute game. You'll see moments. You'll see goals. You know, Marchenko, a goal comes to mind a couple of games ago where he did it individually. Okay, you're not going to see that a lot. So the units of going out 5 units at a time and sticking with it, the good teams, like I watched Winnipeg and St. Louis last night, they are well-oiled defensive machines, and I think that kind of gets lost when you lose your scoring touch. That defense has to be perfect to get that offense going.
Yeah, and I think we saw, you know, teams like Ottawa and Montreal that, I mean, just the give a damn. No one here had lack of give a damn. They're just a little bit more veteran. You saw them just pull away. Now you're 8 out, and it's probably cooked at this point. What do you want to see down the stretch here in these final 6 from this team?
Well, you talked about Ottawa and Montreal.
Yeah.
Okay, there is a team, there is a unity in the way they play and an understanding of everyone's role. And I'll go back to getting players back and adding players to the lineup. You take a player out, and I'll take James Van Riemsdyk, for example. Okay, he was on the second line. Things were going well. You get a player back. You know, you get Jenner back. So now where does he fit in? He's a top 6 guy, so then Van Riemsdyk gets moved down, but still, you know, there's a value there which he had now that's lost. Now he's out of the lineup. Now he's back in. Like, you're searching and thinking that a top 6 forward comes back. Monahan comes back as well. And then they'll be inserted and everything will be the same. But these are different players, different people at different points in the season when the playoff push is on. And I'm not singling out those players for any other reason that coming back into the lineup in a playoff race when the treadmill is going 1,000 miles an hour and you're jumping on. You know, I think that's the importance of those other teams. They understand it's not about one player. They play as a unit. If I'm watching this Blue Jackets team, I want to see them play the way they did the first period against the Toronto Maple Leafs. 5 guys defensively, 5 guys working to get the puck out, 5 guys in the offensive zone. It looks fast because everyone's on the same page and in the right spot every single line that whole period. It's hard to maintain. The other team will make adjustments. But I'd like to see that unity that we saw earlier in the season starting tonight in the first and then continuing for the rest of the, what do we have, 18 periods left.
Yeah. Hard to believe, but yeah, that's it. It's 18 left. And I'm curious if you remember this. You were this was several years ago, one of the first years we were doing Shelley time, and you were in Washington. And I said to you, Ovechkin's going to get this, isn't he? And we're like, well, where's he at? And then we're like, oh, he's a lot close. This snuck up. It didn't now. Obviously, we knew this was coming, Bud. But like 3 or 4 years ago, like we were talking, it was like, oh boy, someone's going to take down Gretzky. And then he did it in a game less than the great one, which is just crazy, the symmetry of that. As someone whose whole life is in the sport, what do you make of this chase that Ovi has gone on and just competing against him the way that you did and the moment he had with the great one over the weekend?
Well, it's pretty spectacular to have a player that you know is going to score a certain goal at a certain spot for the first 3 quarters of his career on that power play dot. And, you know, teams defended him differently. Teams would go to him and stand by him so he wouldn't get the shot. Well, what we do, open up other players on that power play. So then you have to, you know, guard him less. It's remarkable. I love the joy that he scores with every single goal. I think he was criticized by Don Cherry about that early in his career. But to have 895 goals and celebrate everyone the same way is remarkable. I love that he did it this year. 42 goals on the season, 39 years old.
Jody, in 61 games.
No one saw that coming, right?
Jeez.
I mean, and this team is playing well. Washington, it'll be interesting here to see how they finish the season now that that's tucked away. I mean, every goal is still a big goal, obviously, for a guy who's got a record.
Yeah.
But it's been spectacular to talk about the last 3 years. And the way that it's gone down and the way that the league stopped the game, I don't know if you saw it the other day, they stopped the game and addressed the moment, and Gretzky was there and Bettman was there. It was just very well done. And I love the class that Gretzky has, but, he handed it to a guy in Ovechkin who's, I mean, it's incredible what he's done, and to see how they handled it was remarkable. Just, you can't believe it, right? You look at that.
No, I can't.
He was so far behind, and his age was catching up. And I love Matthew's comments the other day where he said, "Boy, I can't even think of that." He said, "You can't even put me in the conversation because it feels so far away." But that's where we were with Ovechkin 4 or 5 years ago, or maybe a little longer. So it's
Matthews needs like 10 more 40-goal average seasons.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's kind of what it's at. Is there something that you can tell us anecdotally about Ovechkin? Because we don't know a whole lot. For as long as he's played here, like we see the exuberance and the joy and all of that. Is there something anecdotally you can share with us about him, whether the way he goes about his business? I think one thing people don't realize is how big he is. I think you don't notice that until you see him up close and personal. But is there something you can share?
He's unique. He's a guy that understands how he has to what his body has to be like to play a game. He was leading the league in active players and hits, I want to say up to last year. So this is a guy that doesn't just go out there and score goals. He's changed his game. He's always been physical. I just love him away from the rink too, because he gets it. He'll say hi to everybody. He's a superstar around the world. And I play with Yager, and it's interesting to see, like, those two personalities. They love hockey. He loves what he's doing. He loves his teammate and the games. You just marvel at him, because when he came in, he was just this kid scoring goals, and he came in with Crosby.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a unique build in a time where diet, nutrition, and everything is so under a microscope. These kids coming now are so in tune. But I love the throwback that he plays with. It's a dying breed, but boy, it's nice to have him around.
I like that line you said, because it resonates, I think, with everybody, that he celebrates every goal like it's his first. Like he's surprised it went in almost. Like it's like, you've done it 900 times, man.
I didn't even do that, and I only scored 18.
All right, brother.
Over 14 years, so figure that out.
Great chat as always, buddy. Thanks for your time.
All right, have a great day. Thanks, Bo.
All right, little three things on a Tuesday up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
With Amazon Business, smart business buying tools enable buyers to find and purchase items fast. Free up your teams and focus on your future. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
This Ohio State football spring practice report is brought to you locally on The Fan by Roosters and by your Ohio Kubota dealers.
Ohio State football spring practice report.
As the Buckeyes bring the spring season to an end, Ohio State head coach Ryan Day asked about the defense.
It's been good to watch CJ work and in sort of a new role. I think he's embraced it and doing a nice job. Arvell as well, is doing some really good things, and it's fun to watch as Coach Patricia and Coach Walton kind of put this puzzle together on the guys that we have. So I think both those guys have stood out. I like the way, the other linebackers are running around, Peyton Pierce and, Riley, TJ. It's been good to watch them. Jermaine is now, out there, and you feel him every day. He's competitive along with Davison and the other corners.
This report was brought to you by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center and by Weber Grills. I'm Matt Andrews on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
Imagine a tailgate. The heat of the flame, the sizzle of the burger, the squeeze of the ketchup. Grilling is essential to tailgating as the game itself. Weber Grills are there in the hours, minutes, and even seconds before kickoff. Before the best damn band in the land plays the battle cry, signaling it's time to take the field. Weber is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. This season, Weber created an officially licensed limited edition Ohio State grill inspired by the iconic Buckeye helmets. Find the best damn grill in the land at local Ohio retailers.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
It's Kubota Orange Days. From America's #1 selling compact tractor to zero-turn mowers and versatile RTVs, get your perfect match delivered to your door. Now through June 30th, get 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months or up to $3,500 off BX23S tractors. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
Visit BuckeyeKubotaDealers.com to find a dealer near you.
Good morning, Doctor.
Doctor?
Hi, Doctor. Doctor?
Dr. Jackson's practice is growing.
What do you mean we're still short-staffed?
He needs a good patient doctor.
How do we not have enough doctors to doctor all these patients?
And he doesn't have the patience to sift through hundreds of resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Buying a home used to feel like a complete headache. Listings here, pre-approval there, financing somewhere else. Now, Rocket is giving every home one address. Rocket.com. A single seamless homeownership platform to help you find, buy, sell, finance, and refinance your home. Everything you need, all under one roof. Visit Rocket.com, the new home for all things homeownership. Rocket. Own the dream.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
10 feet tall and bulletproof isn't just a saying, it's a way of life. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, race what on the poll today.
Daily Fan Poll sponsored by Caster Connection, and it asks, which do you think is more likely to happen next season? Ohio State football repeats as national champion, or Ohio State men's basketball makes the NCAA tournament. 53% right now say Ohio State football is going to repeat. 46% say Ohio State men's basketball is more likely to make the NCAA tournament.
Well, I mean, more likely is clearly the basketball. I mean, it's very difficult to win back-to-back national championships. So, and it's never been more difficult, right? I mean, you got to the whole path through it all, and making the tournament is a pretty low threshold. If it were what is more likely, winning a national championship consecutively in football, or the basketball team reaching the Final Four or the Elite Eight, I think that has a little bit of a conversation behind it. But the Buckeyes have a lot of guys come back. You have 4 starters coming back. They hit the portal. I think Cupps is going to be better than people. I think people forget what he was thrust into that freshman year at Indiana. I think he'll be a really nice piece for them next year, and the fact that he dealt with injury last year. So I think they're going to be more than fine on that side and make a little bit of a run. The football thing is tough, though. That's tough sledding, trying to win back-to-back. All right, time for 3 things on a Tuesday.
1, 2, 1, 2. 3 things.
All right, number one for me. So at halftime of the national championship game last night, I thought it would be a good time to watch the 36-minute episode of The Righteous Gemstones, and I would paratroop back into the timing of it was such that I could paratroop back into the Final Four national championship game with about 15, 16 minutes left. And sure enough, that's exactly what had happened. It was kind of a pretty good job out of me to be able to knock this out. I didn't need analysis. I needed to be entertained, and sure enough, I was. I'll just tell you this about Righteous Gemstones. I don't even know what year this is, if this is 3 or 4. I've lost track. There is no sense to be made of what the plan is or what the story is or any of it. It's basically just one gag after another, but it doesn't matter. If you are on a show where Judy Gemstone and her husband BJ, who is paralyzed from a pole dancing accident, is given a monkey named Dr. Watson, who is essentially a step and fetch for everything that they want done, you've won. That wins. So I don't care what it is. Who comes up with this stuff? McBride is the funniest guy on the planet. I mean, it's just unbelievable. It truly is. It's a hit on every level.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a citrus yuzu smash White Claw, but in the moment,
amazing.
It'll do. Tonight's the night for the Cleveland.
He calls him Dr. Watson.
Thank you, Dr. Watson.
Thank you, Dr. Watson. Jeez.
The Teengis.
Teengis is unbelievable.
They're in the 4th season. I think this is the best time probably to end the thing because I just don't know what they can keep doing.
I just think they're just like, what's the most outrageous thing we can do in this scene? Okay, do it.
Yeah. And it hits because, Danny McBride's one of the funniest people, maybe all time. Yeah. All-time funny guys. Tonight's the night for Cleveland, the Cavaliers, but not because they're going to beat the Bulls, because the Celtics are going to lose to the Knicks. Cavs can clinch the number 1 seed in the East either by beating the Bulls or by having the Celtics take one final loss in their last 4 games. Donovan Mitchell's out with a left ankle sprain. I don't know how much you're going to be seeing him in the regular season. Darius Garland's got to have a night, but he only made 4 shots in their last outing against the Sacramento Kings. So I'm more convinced that the Cavs will clinch tonight, but only because the Knicks beat the Celtics.
They're 78 down, right? There's only 4 to go. So all they need is 1 win or Boston loss, and it's cooked because they're 4 back, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I am a big turn my heat off as quick as I can, as long as I can to turn my AC on and vice versa and all of that. So I cannot remember the last time that I came to work and left my heat on. I've been turning it on at night, and then I've been turning it off. Well, not today. The heat is on while I am gone. And Ohio weather, I don't complain about you very often, but I'm not too happy about this. I want the heat off right now while I'm at work.
You guys seen the images of those poor saps up in Cleveland?
No, I haven't. I've been looking on purpose because it just feels
It's opening day, Bo.
It's opening day.
Oh, just absolutely brutal. So this is a new one. Usually when you're reached our advanced age, my wife and I, you've kind of experienced everything. So she had her car taken in to get serviced. And it's they had the valet service, so they come and get it, and they drop it off and so forth. So they drop it off yesterday, and she goes outside. I just hear a scream. While her car was being serviced, it was sideswiped. Like, not little, lot. Like, as if someone was in a high-speed chase, ran along the side of it, and then the whole driver's side. So she's in a panic. I'm like, look, it's good. Like, you're going to be fine here. But, like, it was a stunning thing. And she was like, well, why would they even drive it home? And I'm like, well, listen, like, the dealership who does the service might also not be aware that this was maybe a pre-existing. Who knows? Come to find out, as a tow truck driver dropping off another car to get serviced, drove and sideswiped her entire vehicle. Needless to say, the dealership's taking care of it, as we knew that they would. But just a crazy scene yesterday at the house.
Second thing from me, I don't know what TCU's doing in the transfer portal, but it feels like pretty good work. They just picked up 3-time All-American guard Olivia Miles. The transfer from Notre Dame was going to go into the WNBA draft and then surprised everybody by hitting the transfer portal. They got Helly Van Lith last year. A couple of years ago, they got one of the Cavender twins. Like, it feels like...
She never played, though, right?
I'm not sure.
I don't think the Cavender twin played.
If she ever touched the court for them, but just took a bunch of pictures in a TCU jersey.
She did that, yeah. Dude, oil money. You saw Landman.
Yeah.
Money. Oil money talks. I did not realize yesterday during Three Things when I talked about slap shots that the Adam Fantilli one was going to be released today. Tyler has got that scheduled to hit the fan socials at noon today to kind of get you ready for the Jackets and Senators tonight. So go check out a cool little interview with Adam Fantilli to get you ready for the CBJ game tonight.
Number 3 for me, I've never needed the Masters more. This weather sucks. It's brutal. It's cold. Give me azaleas. Give me the green. Give me the green of the grass. Give me the blue of the water. I've never been more excited for the Masters. It can't come quick enough. It's going to transport me this weekend out of the doldrums.
It's been great watching the practice rounds up here today and seeing the pimento cheese sandwiches like you were talking about earlier.
So I'm seeing the images from Cleveland. It's just so gray, so cold, snow squalls everywhere. Boy. Enjoy it, though, because it's opening day. Like, what the hell? Like,
suck.
Maybe they should move it to later in the month for the entire sport of baseball. I think that's a conversation that's fair to have in the future. But, nothing is, I think, better than the start of baseball season because this crappy weather aside, at least it means you're closer to actual spring weather later in the month.
Speaking of seeing images, Bo, during the show, I have seen more images of the Buffalo Trace Distillery. Please get the Eagle Rare to higher ground.
Keep it dry, boys. Do the best you can. Rothwood Ice coming up next. We're back tomorrow. Thanks for listening, buddy. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Oh, hey, the best football team in the country's on the best radio station in the country. Congratulations, Buckeyes. Here's to 100 more years together. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan.
Before you start your day, UDF has already started making your breakfast right in our bakery. We've got buttery, flaky croissants baked before the crack of dawn. We're making fluffy buttermilk biscuits from scratch by the time the sun starts to think about rising. And before you hit your first alarm, we've piled our biscuits and croissants high with sausage, egg, and cheese right in store. So come in and grab a fresh one and let us make you a morning person. Fresh baked breakfast sandwiches from United Dairy Farmers. UDF, mornings made for you.
I can't wait to meet her. Oh my gosh.
Put your hands together for new Dr. Pepper Blackberry and Dr. Pepper Blackberry Zero Sugar.
There she is! Woohoo! Yeah! It's full Dr. Pepper!
With sweet blackberry flavor!
Dr. Pepper Blackberry, I'm obsessed with your succulent taste. Please marry me!
No! Marry me! Marry me, or I'm gonna freak out!
Try new Dr. Pepper Blackberry.
It's a pepper thing!
It's been a great run. Care Heating and Cooling has achieved goals I could only imagine 30 years ago. But now it's time for the next generation to take over. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, as Care grew over the years, you had many opportunities to sell Care to one of the big conglomerates that are buying companies all over Central Ohio. So tell our customers why you decided to keep Care in the family.
After talking about Care's values for over 30 years, I couldn't bear the thought of Care becoming the kind of company I was warning our customers about. I know the two of you will continue to treat our customers as I would, with honesty and integrity.
We will, Dad. In 2024, Care was awarded a BBB Torch Award for Ethics and was named the Lennox Partner of the Year. You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
Huntington is banking that just clicks. Like early pay, moving up payday so you could get your money faster, up to 2 days faster. And there's no cost. It's your money, right? So stop playing the waiting game. It's just one more way we're looking out for people every day. Is your bank looking out for you? Maybe it's time to switch. Visit your neighborhood Huntington branch or make the switch at huntington.com/yourmoney. Direct deposit and eligibility requirements apply.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, you get me, Nia.
You could say that I double get you.
I guess we've taken it too far.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Quarterback Jordan Love isn't just on Green Bay's team. He's also on the American Family Insurance team. Because like us, he believes in dreaming fearlessly.
Just chase your dreams and don't let nobody hold you back.
And we help protect those dreams with the right coverage so you can
dream fearlessly.
American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American